So the big news today was that LeBron James's 18-year-old son suffered cardiac arrest while practicing, and instantly on Twitter, vaccine begins trending, and everybody is beginning to debate that conversation or have that conversation with people on the left saying like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, it's not true. And people on the right, of course, saying it's time to have that talk. So we're going to talk about what happened with LeBron James. I really want to talk about experimental medicine because I recently went and got some technically experimental medicine myself, and there's some interesting conversation to have there. We also have a bunch of other really interesting stories. It was Joe Biden. I guess he accidentally said that we cured cancer or something. He muttered, "We've ended cancer as we know it." And, it's a big problem when your president mistakes Syria for Libya during military meetings or publicly declares we've ended cancer as we know it when we have not. But that's the president. What do you expect? And then we've got some other interesting stories. Ron DeSantis has fired a campaign staffer who retweeted a video that had the black sun in it. Nazi symbol. So, okay, we'll talk about that one. Sure, fine, whatever. But ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, I have big news. Go to castbrew.com and check it out. We've got new flavors. So, of course, you can get the Appalachian Nights Colombian French roast, everything you know and love. But boom, there it is. Mr. Bocus Pumpkin Spice Experience now available. Unwoke Decaf Light Roast and Sleepy Joe Decaf Dark Roast. So if you want some Sleepy Joe, it's there. We also have Stand Your Grounds, a medium roast. And we got, of course, all the other flavors you know and love. Colombian, everything. Mr. Bocus Pumpkin Spice Experience and Ground and Whole Bean. They're all available in Ground and Whole Bean, so we doubled them up. And you can join the Cast Brew Coffee Club. You get 3 bags per month, so you get a bit of a discount. And it's available in a mix of ground or whole bean. Choose it. If you go to Casper.com and buy our products, you're supporting us. We sponsor ourselves, so we greatly appreciate your support. But don't forget to also head over to Timcast.com, click Join Us, become a member, because we're going to have a members-only show coming up for you at about 10 p.m., where you as audience members actually get to call in and talk to us.
Oh, God.
You've got to be... it's going to be fun. You've got to be a member for at least 6 months or sign up at the $25 per month level. And Michael, calm down. It's screened by our team. And then we choose 4 or 5 individuals to call and ask questions. So if you want to call in, that's going to be a good time, and become a member at timcast.com. Now, of course, you could already tell that Michael Malice is joining us tonight.
Hi, everybody.
And he's sitting here. He ordered pizza.
You ordered pizza.
Well, I didn't order it. Allison ordered it. The team ordered it, but Michael insisted. He said, "I'd like to have a pizza party," and we said, "Anything you want, Michael. While you're here, it's my home is your home."
Thank you so much.
Who are you?
I am Michael Malice. I am really excited to be back here. My new book's The White Pill, whitepillbook.com. It's been a minute since our last. We all had that big get together in Austin where Alex kind of making a little go off the rails. So I thought let's have another reunion, have a little be sedate. And I had a surprise guest with me, and the surprise got a little bit ruined, but I'm ecstatic.
How was it ruined? I was sitting downstairs at the poker table, and Roseanne Barr walks in.
No, the whole point was I was supposed to introduce her on air. It was good. I had this whole fantasy in my head, but yeah, the legend icon, and someone who I'm kind of surreal that I'm friends with this person and takes my calls. Roseanne Barr is here.
Hi.
Good pizza, huh?
Really good.
I don't think you need to introduce yourself. You can if you'd like to.
Hi. He already introduced me.
She used to be on The View. Then she hosted the Rosie O'Donnell show for several years.
I'm happy to be here. I came to learn from you. Oh, you want me to go over here?
Yeah, grab the mic so people can hear you.
You told me not to eat on the mic.
Well, you're talking. Just swallow the pizza and then,
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to see how you do, because I'm doing a podcast now, RoseanneBarr.com, on YouTube and all the usual places. So I wanted to watch how you do. You're living large on this podcast stuff. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm going to learn from you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll tell you. We'll tell you anything you want to know and help you.
Got a yard full of chickens. That looks good.
We have too many chickens. We have more. There's babies in there, and they make more of themselves. Is the thing, you know what I mean? You just leave them in there, and you come back, and there's more, and you're like, oh.
How many eggs a day you getting?
30 maybe.
Good.
Yeah, it's a lot of chickens.
This is the top story.
It's huge news. Chicken City is overpopulated. It smells bad.
Oh yeah. That's all that ammonia. And does it mess up their feet too?
No, they're fine. It's not that overpopulated. Okay. It rains and stuff, and they have the outdoor area. But well, thank you for joining us. It's gonna be really fun. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here too. Thanks for inviting me.
I am delighted to make stuff like this. This just in all seriousness. One of the people ask me a lot of times. As many people know, I was a lifelong New Yorker. I've lived in Austin now for 2 years. I am now know how to drive a car. I'm
Wow.
getting lessons from Colin Robb, who's a professional race car driver and
That's a little overkill.
national indoor skydiving champion. Follow him on Instagram, Colin, COLLINROBB _ on Instagram. Great dude. Well, and I'm filming it because I thought it'd be funny. So now I'm at the level of like Asian female in terms of my driving skills, but I can get around.
Step on it.
But the thing I missed, people ask me, do you miss New York? Do you miss New York? What I missed about New York is that when you go to a party or some get together, you're going to run into cool people who are doing awesome things. And that kind of vanished. But that's happening now in Austin. So to be able to like sit in a room and here comes Roseanne Barr is just completely surreal.
I got to hand it to you, man, because you're a big part of that. It's amazing how you can just manifest. You put your mind to it before you even move down there. You're like, I'm going to set up a house where a lot of, I don't know, you didn't say intelligent people.
It is,
but
intelligent.
it's like a kind of a
nexus.
erudite,
Yes.
people that enjoy art and reading and things like information. Man, I went to a party at Michael Malice's house, and I highly recommend it. If anyone is down there in Austin and you know Michael, that is the place to be.
It was a lot of fun.
Very excited to meet the people you know. Roseanne, you're one of them. I love you. Good
All
to be
right.
here.
Also joining us is Phil Labonte.
How you doing? I am Phil Labonte, lead singer of All That Remains, anti-communist and counter-revolutionary. I am
Nice.
excited to be here. Hi, Roseanne. I'm
Hi.
so happy to be here.
Ms. Barr.
I am Ms. Barr. Ms. Barr. Mr. Malice, I thoroughly enjoy your company when you're not pointing your claws at me.
Phil's one of my favorite people.
We're ready to go. So, what's up, Ian?
Ian's, of course, here.
Oh, yeah, I gave a little sly intro a little bit before Phil. Sorry about that, homie.
No, don't apologize.
Well, I don't really have anything to bring other than what I already did. I'm just glad you guys are here, man.
And I'm going to point out to the audience that you missed some gold because watching Ian and Roseanne talk about UFOs before we started taping.
Yeah, we got a
That
UFO
was
story.
That was
Okay, yeah.
interesting.
Talking about power sources.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about UFOs because apparently some former government intelligence guy came out and said that the U.S. has off-Earth technology.
I am so freaking lucky
Right.
that I get to see all this shit.
That's what I'm talking about, dude.
All right. We also got Kellen mashing all the buttons.
Yeah, I'm filling in again for Surge tonight. What's up, everybody? I'm Kellen. Ian, I love to see your X's today. You're really Xing like crazy.
Yeah.
It's always good to see it.
I'll X harder.
Rock on.
So you guys know Twitter is rebranded now to
Right.
X.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone's been Xing. Hopefully keep their due diligence.
All right.
I feel, why isn't it expressing?
Express.
Express.
Right?
I mean, I think X is dumb. I don't care what they call
The problem
it. Though.
with
It's whatever.
Express is it's 2 syllables, and you need like 1 syllable word
Xation?
for it.
All right.
I don't know why he changed it. I went and got this tattoo on my arm about 3 years ago. It's the Twitter bird, Because
Oh, yeah,
I
look at
said, I said, well, someday, real quick. This was 3 years ago. I says the people are going to own Twitter because I could see it coming, Now this is no damn good. I got to put an X.
Yeah,
to
put
it.
an X
even
over
better.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump into the news. Before we do, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends, and of course, become a member at timcast.com for the .com for the after show. Here's the big story. This is crazy. It's from Yahoo. Bronny James, LeBron James' 18-year-old son, suffered cardiac arrest. Here's what you need to know. I mean, that's basically the story. He was practicing. He had cardiac arrest. He was rushed to the hospital. It was very serious. He's in stable condition. He survived. The big news, however,
How old?
18.
Oh my God.
The big news outside of that is that here's the Daily Mail. Bronny James' cardiac arrest is linked to the COVID-19 vaccine Elon Musk suggests, saying, "We cannot ascribe everything to the vaccine, but by the same token, we cannot ascribe nothing," Musk wrote. Myocarditis is a known side effect. The only question is whether it is rare or common, Musk's tweet continued. I will just say this, as I always start videos like this, talk to your doctor about what's right for you. Find trusted medical professionals. A lot of people don't trust the medical system, but there are people out there who are good medical professionals you can trust. Just do the work. And the CDC says it is rare, myocarditis, but I wonder what you guys think about this whole thing.
Can I say one thing? It seems to me, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on with this issue. It seems to me that one of the big stresses where the demand was to get everyone as vaccinated as possible was to socialize risk. Because if everyone's invested and if bad things start to happen, we're all in this together. Whereas if you have one population and that population has consequences, then it's like, okay, it's happening to them. It's now there's going to be hell to pay.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, wait, you guys screwed up, people in Florida, you guys screwed up, maybe young people, whatever. If it's everybody, then it's kind of like you can't, it's like, that's how corporate systems work, bureaucracies work. If you distribute the consequences, then really no one's to blame.
But but that also created the perception of risk itself. So I'll say a few things. The CDC says that myocarditis is a rare side effect from the mRNA vaccine specifically. This is the CDC saying it.
Right.
Don't take my word for it. And myocarditis is listed as a cause, sometimes a cause of cardiac arrest in young athletic males. That would easily mean that sometimes people who get the COVID vaccine may suffer myocarditis, and that may result in cardiac arrest. I believe it's extremely rare. However, we gave out, as of October, that was the latest number I could find, 37 or some ridiculous number of vaccine doses. You give out that many. Let's say it's 1 in a million people who will get myocarditis. You're going to have 600 and some odd cases of myocarditis. Then you're going to hear a bunch of stories in the news, and people are going to assume many stories means it's happening all the time, when actually the same percentage of people are suffering a rare side effect.
Well, right. It's kind
Yeah,
okay.
but, if you really were going to have some trust in statistics, you would have hoped they would have used a control group
Yeah.
in the quote unquote science, which they didn't. So we don't really know how many people. And plus, I don't trust their numbers anyway.
Well,
but I think that what happened to him is that global warming got him.
Oh, yeah. But that's a good point.
Or white supremacy.
No, hold on.
I don't
The
know
stress
about
of
that.
Both very big issues, but where are they at? It was 120 degrees in Las Vegas, so he was just so hot.
Right.
His heart was going crazy,
Oh.
pumping the heat. Actually, in all seriousness, though, when you're really hot, your heart pumps your blood like crazy to
Yeah.
move the heat through your body. So
But
He was hot,
but
and
here's-
then he saw some dudes from Saudi Arabia in the traditional garb, thought it was KKK members, had a heart attack.
We're all joking, but
No,
the
but
thing
if
is,
you've ever been in that Las Vegas heat, I mean, I about had myocarditis when I was there like about 5 years ago, just walking outside to the cab.
yeah, but you were a senior citizen. You know what I mean?
Well,
He's like an
that's true.
18-year-old athlete. So, but
That's
the other
true.
thing is why they're being disingenuous is they're saying it's rare. Death from COVID is rare. It was like 1%. Even if if something happens to 1% of the people, that's rare. 1%. And murder, I think America is 330 million people, and there's like 20,000 murders. So that's statistically irrelevant. It's rare, but are we going to pretend murder doesn't matter? So that word is kind of a weasel word. It could mean what you're saying, or it could mean that it's doubling what it should have been, but that's still rare, and we shouldn't
But
care about it.
Well, when it comes to the CDC, though, one thing that I find interesting, and I wear a permanent tinfoil hat. You know that, baby. Because I'm 70, I don't believe anything anybody tells me. But, the permanent thing they say is to really check out what these undertakers are saying, how the death rate went up in what population, for the undertakers know it. And they say it's through the roof of people, and insurance companies say it too. Their stuff went up 100 million points of people.
that could be COVID.
But I don't believe.
No, it's people dying from myocarditis. Whatever you say.
Here's the thing. I don't believe that 5 years ago that there were enough news articles of young athletes getting myocarditis and possibly dying. I don't think this was a thing.
Well, they was
Right.
dropping
No, I
dead
agree, I
all
agree.
over the
Yeah.
all over the place on soccer fields in South
That's what I'm saying.
America,
But I'm
all
saying
over
5
the
years.
place.
If they're trying to make it out, this has nothing to do with the vaccines. I don't think, and it's just we're just noticing it now. I don't think there would have been enough to notice 5 years ago.
Here's my question. Why is the immediate assumption it's vaccines and not that it was COVID? We know that
Well, that's
myocarditis,
true.
COVID does cause myocarditis.
Okay.
And we know that
That's true.
It was the alpha strain was super brutal, and then over time, as it started to mutate, it became less and less serious. The various strange Omicron, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the first strains were nuts. So all these we see these documentaries like what was that one where they're pulling the clots out of the body?
Oh, yeah.
But
Was that died suddenly?
Died suddenly. I saw that and I said, could COVID be doing this? And the weird thing to me about it is you've got this conspiracy theory, and I'm not saying that to be disparaging to people who don't trust Big Pharma. The idea being that there's these vaccines may be causing blood clots.
Right.
They call it the clot shot and stuff like that. And I'm like, here's a conspiracy theory. COVID was manufactured through gain-of-function research. Doc Fauci funded it. It was made in the lab.
Mm-hmm.
It leaked and is causing extreme reactions that we're seeing, which results in blood clots and myocarditis.
True.
What about that conspiracy theory?
Right.
I mean, that
I'll
could be.
accept that one.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I think also to your point, it's kind of telling that you're now in a position to make that question on air and not be shut down completely and totally. Now, there's two possibilities. One, people push back enough, they're like, okay, or that there's enough data that what you're just asking about can no longer just be pretended to be just tinfoil hat nonsense.
Well, it's proven. It's fact.
One thing that a lot of the liberals brought up in counter to, vaccine starts trending when Bronny James has this news breaks, and a bunch of liberals are like, hey, COVID causes myocarditis, and it does, and it did, like well before the vaccines we were seeing it. I don't know if there's enough news
But I
stories.
don't feel like it would cause it in young people and young athletes. If it might cause it in someone who's older and weaker already, but like if the whole thing with COVID is that it's not targeting young people, and in fact, children
well, we don't
almost
know that though.
Well, we know in terms of the death rates and things like that.
Well, but death rate's not the same as transmission.
I could see
Sure.
like
I read a study that said that a lot of infants, that are born dead. I can't remember the word for it.
Stillborn.
Stillborn. They have heart issues from mother.
In utero?
Yeah. So we don't know if that's that the mother had COVID or that she got
I was talking
vaccinated either.
Yeah, I had Count Dankula on my show, and he was talking about the rates of stillbirth and miscarriage in Scotland was like through the roof.
Yeah,
But that
through
could
the
be
roof.
COVID.
That could be COVID.
Yeah,
sure.
right.
I'm just saying, but the thing is, it's not nothing.
Right,
So
right,
the
right.
whole point is that
Absolutely.
the argument is this isn't really happening or just noticing it. Just because you can't think of the cause doesn't
Right.
mean the consequence is not occurring.
But we should be open to
Exactly.
discussing and like using scientific method rather than getting in big fist fights over it's this or that. We should be open to finding out what the hell is.
And I don't think it's a partisan issue. Like
I
when
don't
people
think
are
it is
dying,
either.
it's not. I mean, this has nothing to do with
Well,
Republicans.
makes you-
but look,
But
Democrat.
they make everything into a partisan fight.
Democrat governors
Somebody
put
wants to.
COVID patients in nursing homes and killed elderly people.
Well,
they were
they
warned
definitely
it would
killed
happen.
the old people, definitely.
Cuomo was warned explicitly.
Right.
The Javits Center and the Comfort were available for housing sick people, and he
Right.
was like, put them in the nursing homes. And they said, if you do that, elderly people will contract COVID, they will die.
Mm-hmm.
He did it anyway. And
What's-
then you had
what's his excuse
someone
for that.
he must have done a calculated risk. Like if we don't do it, this many people could die. If we do
Javits
it,
Center.
less people will die.
Javits Center.
Yeah.
It wasn't even at capacity. It was they converted it into a hospital. I
But
think
And
you
you
thought-
know that they I've heard this. I don't know that it's fact, but I've seen it reported as fact that hospitals did get a payoff for every death. That
Yes,
they
yes, that's true. Oh, yeah.
Listed as a
20
COVID
here's,
death.
here's,
26,000
here's what I
or
want to say about we have this debate over like DeSantis and Trump, and this conversation comes up, and people often point to Trump was buddy with Fauci, and Trump did Operation Warp Speed, and I just want to say look, I like experimental medicine a lot. Trump was in favor of right to try.
Right.
It's a good thing. Government mandates are a bad thing.
Right.
Corporations mandating people get a medication, and the government through circuitous methods or direct methods forcing it is the problem.
Yeah.
Trump funding whatever. I'm like, if I'm not forced to do anything, I don't really care, right? I mean, fine, whatever. I don't like the big pharmaceuticals, massive multinational corporations. But I recently just went to Tijuana and got experimental medication to treat my damaged hip, and it helped me out greatly. But I chose it. So yeah, I don't like the my view is not to rag on Trump because he funded experiments. It's to rag on the politicians and the executives who are forcing people to get medicated.
Right.
Is it just me, or does it seem like people criticize Trump for not being a libertarian, even though they're not libertarians? Like, to think that Trump wouldn't want the government to do something would be really kind of ridiculous, in my opinion, because Donald Trump's not a small government kind of guy. He was never that kind of dude. He knew how to work the government in New York to be able to get at least some buildings built and stuff. So the idea that Donald Trump needs to be held accountable in the way that you would hold a libertarian accountable seems off to me.
I think they're more trying to hold him accountable for trusting people that he should have known are nefarious.
Fair.
That's the issue. I think. I can't speak for Trump supporters.
Well, who else was he going to trust? It's not like there was anybody decent to choose from. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought on Bolton. I think that was because one of his donors wanted him to bring on John Bolton, and then Bolton stabs in the back.
Yeah.
Trump brought on so many dumb people.
Well,
Like
Rex
Fauci,
Tillerson.
though, is the dumbest guy. Fauci is the most wrong guy. Remember with AIDS? Fauci, remember back then?
Well, I don't remember it, but I've read a lot about it
Because
since
you're
then.
not that old.
I've been going down
I
this.
do, and my brother's gay, and I remember when AIDS was the big thing, and Fauci was the problem then too.
Yeah, I just finished watching this superb miniseries from back in the day called Angels in America about the AIDS
Yeah.
crisis
Oh,
in New
yeah.
York. And I think I might even write a book about it at some point because I think people have forgotten how dark it was, and
Very
it was
dark.
a joke. because it was happening to them, and like ha ha ha, and it's really, if you look back, it was extremely disturbing how this population was treated and like just almost applauded.
I heard a conspiracy theory about the MMR vaccine in 1980. They established and they distributed a mass distribution of the MMR vaccine, some new vaccine, and this is the conspiracy theory, is that it was tainted with HIV.
Right, I
And
heard that.
A lot of people got it, but
Well-
most people were able to fight it off. It was the people doing poppers and partying till 5 a.m. that got really sick,
Which you
and then
can't
they were
talk
like,
about, yeah.
"Gay, it's the
Well-
gay," and it's like, no, it's because their bodies were weakened.
But we don't need that conspiracy because we know that Bayer had tainted hemophilia medication.
Yes.
That's
And-
historically
Yeah.
fact.
Well, have you heard of Celia Farber?
Uh-uh.
She's a great journalist, and she went back in the 90s when I was on my show. She brought me evidence. She's a prize-winning journalist, and she had traced it back to the Salk vaccine, the place in Africa where they tested on those children. The Salk and the Sabin polio vaccine is the same place where AIDS originated.
You know, this is it's like a dangerous YouTube subject either way because I'm not inclined to immediately say that vaccines caused whatever. There's so many conspiracy theories.
No,
about
but
all
I'm
this
just
medication.
saying, like, experimenting on a captive population is always bad.
Yeah.
You know, you can't do that.
But so I just watched Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie. Queen, such an amazing band. Bohemian Rhapsody, is it the greatest song of all time?
yes,
perhaps.
absolutely.
And so I'm watching
we
it.
built this city is the greatest.
That's a
song of all
good
time.
song.
No,
Jefferson
he was the
Starship.
greatest singer ever, Freddie
Freddie.
Mercury.
You think so?
And
He's your favorite?
Yeah.
Queen is so good. You know, and especially after watching that movie, I'm listening to all their songs again after all this time, and I'm like eclectic.
Yes, that's
and
the thing about them. Yeah.
poetic,
Operatic.
operatic, just so amazing, and
Groundbreaking.
This may be a little crass, but I love "Don't Stop Me Now." But every time I listen to that, I'm like, you know, on second thought, someone should have stopped that guy.
Oh God, Tim, that's a Michael Malice joke. Good
But-
Lord.
But I'm not saying to be mean. I'm not saying it as a joke. I
Can't stop
literally,
Freddie.
people should have been like,
Someone should have at least moderated him.
But this
you know,
is
maybe
just
not
like,
stop him, but
But
you know,
that
just
wasn't the
pump-
times. I mean, it was
pump the
all
brakes.
excess.
but Michael's over here. He's very laughy. He likes it. But I'm not saying it's a joke. I'm saying it. This guy was doing drugs. He was partying nonstop all the time. That destroys his immune system. He contracts HIV, and I'm just like, it's such a brutal thing. But you know, my point is, when it comes to these conspiracy theories about what really happened, I'm like, these stories are all people who, as like Ian pointed out, are doing a bunch of drugs all the time.
Rock and roll
They're having
happened to him.
tons
Yeah.
of sex all the time.
AZT
Wait,
was
hold on.
like,
But
course
let
they're
me-
contracting
we have
STDs.
actually a control group for this because we have someone here who had that level of fame. So when you were like at the top of your power, how would someone have put you in check if they wanted to? Because like when you're like Freddie Mercury level, I feel like no one can tell you anything.
You're damn right.
Yeah.
If they try, you're out of there.
Right.
You're not going to tell me. I made this money. This is my money, and I'll do with it as I choose.
Yeah.
And
right.
that's how it is. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
were just
And most people, like, they end up dead. That is the truth.
No, but my point is not that you could have stopped Freddie Mercury. My point is that
No, I hear you, but I'm just saying
Where
it's
does it-
interesting we can actually talk to someone at that level of
couldn't
fame.
be stopped. I wouldn't let nobody stop
no,
me.
but right. But my point is not that he could have been stopped. My point is, how does this disease come about? Because these people can't be stopped. Like
Right.
these celebrities, ultra rock stars, promiscuous.
They don't want to
doing
stop.
drugs.
It's a big suicidal trip. It's like, hey, you've reached the peak and you've done everything there is to do. You don't want to downslide now. You're not going back. You're going out.
Yeah.
I want to bring
Yeah,
up
no one's gonna. Yeah, right.
into
Yeah.
the occult.
I got to bring up. So it is a dark story to talk about. I mean, no disrespect. You know, it's a terrible story. But we did talk about this great new. There's a great stride has been taken, is underway. Joe Biden has cured cancer,
Oh,
ladies and
that's
gentlemen.
so cool.
We have this from the Post Millennial. Joe Biden breaking. He claims we ended cancer as we know it. The real story, because I'm not here to bury the lead or manipulate you, is that Biden mumbled what sounded like we ended cancer as we know it, seemingly on accident, and I just find it kind of sad and humorous. But here let me.
I'm so glad I donated money to him.
Oh my
Let's
gosh.
play the clip.
Yeah, and
Do
Fetterman.
anything at all, Joe, what would you do? I said I'd cure cancer. They looked at me like, why cancer? Because no one thinks we can. That's why, and we can.
Yeah, that's why.
We end the cancer as we know it.
Never mind the dead.
Should he try to cure drug addiction?
Did he cure drug addiction too?
So
Should that be the one?
The clip.
It's a little late for Bo, huh?
I gotta say to the Post Millennial,
person.
do not clip audio. Do not clip the audio right after a word is spoken while he's still speaking, because that diminishes the veracity of making this claim. For all we know, he said, we ended cancer as we know it. What I mean to say is we can end cancer as we know it, but you cut him off and now we don't know the context.
But I'll give you some more context if you look this up. During the campaign, the 2020 campaign, he explicitly said, when I'm elected, we will cure cancer.
Yes.
He did?
Yes.
Yeah, he definitely.
But if you look at the whole context, it was like, we're not going to stop until we put enough resources to solve this. So it was out of context. The sentence sounds crazy, and I'm sure that's what it's a throwback for him. By the way, I had this tweet, and I think you all
Maybe
agree.
that's what all those bio labs in the Ukraine were for, is to come up with a cure for cancer.
Maybe
you think?
who knows?
This-
But,
And to confirm what you're saying, it was in Ottumwa, Iowa, June 11th, 2019. Biden said he would, quote, cure cancer.
The other thing
If he's
that
elected
I'm
president.
really excited about is if it's Trump Biden as the two candidates, it will be literally impossible to convince Joe Biden that he's not living in 2020. Literally.
That's what I wondered about what he said here. I think what he meant to say was, we're going to cure cancer as we know it, but he
Yes.
said it in the present tense.
Yes.
Okay, so this is not the worst thing he's done. No. There was the famous story where he kept saying Libya instead of Syria. And it's kind of a big deal if the president, commander-in-chief, is speaking to the armed forces. And this he was speaking at the UN or whatever. But imagine he goes to a meeting, he's in a situation room, he's like, we got to bomb Libya, and they're like, are you sure? It's like, yeah, just get him out of there, just do it. And it's like, well, okay, I guess. And then it's like breaking news the next day, New York Times, U.S. declares war on Libya, and we're like, why?
We did that already, though.
Technically, France did it for us.
Yeah.
But, you know.
If he was like, instead of saying, we got to send troops, and he's talking to his generals, we got to send troops, and he says, troops are in. The generals would be like, what? They're already in? Because he's speaking in the present
But do you know
tense?
what's really funny is that there was a lot of talk like this when Trump was in office, and people on the left, Democrats, were freaking out. Like they think Trump's an idiot, and I can't believe this guy's
He's
commander.
going to cause a war.
Yeah, this guy's commander in chief. But I don't think Republicans have that fear about Biden because there's really an understanding that he's not running anything. So he's like saying all these things, and everyone's just like, yeah, who cares? Like we know he's not running the military.
I don't
100%. That like it's never Joe Biden actually calling shots. Like
Yes.
he's definitely got handlers that are telling him what to say. He admits it at the podium constantly.
And that's
saying
his
they'll get mad at me. They want me to say this. He tells people all the time.
And that's been his career. That's why he got the nomination. He was a team player. He was a party hack.
I agree and disagree. I think it's true he has AIDS and
Well, good,
HIV.
hey, good news, Jack. Good news, Jack.
Joe Biden has White House aides who tell him, his staff members, what to say and who to call upon and things like this.
Yeah.
And he says they're going to get mad. People assume that means there's like a CIA puppet master pulling strings, when it could just be that Biden has staff members who get angry when he asks them for help. They give him help, and then he doesn't do what they say. It doesn't mean that he's literally being told he has to do things. I think it's a combination of the two. I think he does just go with the flow and is told to do things, but then he also just does things himself, and that creates chaos.
I also think that in many ways it's similar to Trump, because Trump very clearly seemed to not be a big picture guy and wasn't worried about the minutia. And it seemed very clear. It's like, okay, I trust you. Because when you're running like a Trump organization, hotel organization, you're not looking at the hotel in Atlanta, the hotel in New York. You have someone you trust, they're there, and you delegate it. So, you know, that's kind of, I'm sure that was the situation during his presidency. And that's why a lot of it went off the rails, because he didn't have a strong deck of people to staff, and then they're just going rogue.
Yeah,
and
'cause
bragging about
Biden,
it.
I don't know. I don't even think this Biden is the other Biden. They
think
don't look nothing like the original Biden.
Neither do you.
Well, that's true.
Look who's talking.
Yeah, that's true.
He got plastic surgery. That's the funniest thing.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, he got hair plugs for sure.
And I'm pretty sure he got a facelift.
Oh yeah, he's got eye lift for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not.
yeah.
I mean, the old Biden has a much squarer face.
Yeah, well, they pull your flesh back, you know.
Well, I've had that, so I know that. But still, his cheekbones were much wider. And
Are you the original Joe Biden? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I think he's being portrayed by an actor.
Really?
I do. I think he's wearing a mask and he's being
mask?
portrayed by an actor.
A flesh mask.
Did you guys see the Jamie Foxx video?
No.
Jamie
Yes.
Foxx put out a video and he's like, hey guys, you know, I'm all right. And then everyone started showing these like celebrity headshot pictures of his face alongside his cell phone video where he's pale. And it's really simple. It's the width of the camera lens. So you Google this YouTube video, camera lens distortion face, and you can see a guy's face changing shape.
Wait,
based
hold
on.
on.
The camera
I gotta
lens.
ask Roseanne.
Monique
hold on.
says they cloned him.
Let me ask you this, Roseanne.
What?
If you've been in Hollywood for decades, if you're gonna have an actor who's going to play Joe Biden, wouldn't you have an actor who knows how to deliver the lines?
Well, they told him to act like he's got the Alzheimer's.
Why would you do that? Wouldn't you want an actor who acts like he doesn't have the Alzheimer's?
No, because it's all a show. It's all a show for the American people.
Well,
that's a bit too much.
Now that's a sitcom I would like. A show.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true because people have to see how it works. Look at it. It's The Sopranos. Why is nobody seeing what's going on? It's the new Sopranos with the Biden family.
I think you should bring back the Golden Girls and have them all, but have them all have Alzheimer's.
Here's what I think is funny. When it comes to they show a picture of Biden next to an older picture of Biden. It says Biden or whatever, and they're like Biden versus Biden. Like Biden right now is actually Biden. They call him, and it's just like they point to his ears being.
Same with
like,
the Pope, Pope Benedict.
Right, but I'm like, okay, dude, he got a facelift.
Yeah, they
Hold
sew
his
your ears down. They do.
Right. And so people are
one
like,
of my ears is different.
and they're like,
So
why is his
dumb.
face a different shape? Different camera lens, man. Like, there's a bunch of different photos of different people.
Did you see when he was scratching the back of his head and the mask?
It's not. It's his
Did
skin.
you see
It's his loose old skin.
No, it was way too much skin. I think
don't
it's
know.
Jim Carrey playing it.
It could be Jim Carrey.
has been out of the
Nobody could
spotlight.
fall up the stairs.
No.
It's alrighty then.
It's
Nobody could follow.
Wonder Years. Fred Savage.
Fred?
And the other guy became Marilyn Manson.
Do you know? You ever see that Family
Was he
Guy
Wonder Years?
episode where Rush Limbaugh was actually Fred Savage?
Yes, I
And
saw
he's
that.
also Michael Moore, and he's like,
Yeah.
you know, after the Wonder Years, acting dried up, but he had this thirst to act, so he just became all of these personalities.
What about this conspiracy theory that it was Barron running Trump's Twitter because no 7-year-old senior citizen could be that much of a great shit poster? It's got to be this kid.
Or that
That's awesome.
Steve Bannon is Barron from the future.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
Well,
Joe Biden.
how someone's acting for Biden, acting as Biden, because
No, it's Biden.
That's why he speaks like that, because you just can't hit it out of the park. So you've got to pick something that's off and just go
No.
commit to it.
No, come on. Like,
No, I'm just
Joe
kidding,
Biden got a
remember.
bunch of surgery. He got plastic surgery. Got his hair done.
It's really disturbing. Hillary
He's
Clinton did
falling
too.
apart. He's got plates in his brain. He can barely talk. It's like he's just losing
What?
it.
He's just a placeholder? Is that what you think?
Yeah.
That was what magazine was it? Atlantic.
Oh,
In
yeah.
the 2020 election, they said
Time wasn't it with the
No,
conspiracy?
no.
Okay.
No. Atlantic said, "Stay alive, Joe Biden. All
yeah.
we need is your corporeal form."
Yeah.
They were outright saying, "We just need a guy who can get votes. We don't care what he does."
But for 4 years, it was pretty clear during the Trump presidency that the president has far less powers than we are told, and it was. A complaint of his that it's like the government's running itself, and I'm not. They're bragging about how they kind of did end runs about him, and the press was cheering it on, like especially with the like, oh,
Well,
we
no,
didn't
I
how
was
many.
cheering it on.
What do you mean?
Cheering on the idea that for the first time in my lifetime, the president had his authority rescinded and revoked. Now, there's bad things to that in terms
Yeah,
of what
those-
Trump wanted to do, like ending war, but the idea that the president all of a sudden was being curtailed, I was like, wow, that's a first.
No, but I meant in
Well,
terms
yeah,
of like.
because that's a disruption of our whole constitutional republic.
But what were they lying
They
about?
tried to destroy the executive branch and bring up,
Was it destroying it, or was it just demonstrating how it really works?
No, they tried to disrupt the whole balance of power in our government.
They said before Trump even was inaugurated, they were going to impeach him.
Yeah.
Now we have. I did this. I covered this morning. Kevin McCarthy announces a strongly worded letter to be sent
After Rand Paul sent a strongly worded letter, a second one
about Fauci.
Yeah.
Oof,
Oh,
it's about
two.
time.
The second one. If it's a third one, 3 strikes and nothing happens.
Yeah,
But,
not that-
I told
they
her. I
don't do
tweeted at Rand Paul that he should ask Fauci for a cure for his impotence. Because it's insane how these Republicans, Chuck Grassley is another one. Chuck Grassley was the ranking member of the House, of the Senate, Judiciary Committee. He wrote letters to the DOJ, this is the Trump DOJ, about Julie Swetnick. I'm like, this woman's lying brazenly in front of Congress. He doesn't get a call returned, writes another letter a year later, doesn't get a call returned, sends out a press release. So the Republicans are bragging that they can't even get a call returned. This is something to be cringing and embarrassing about instead of telling your voters. It's disgusting.
It is
So
just-
McCarthy announces a potential that this may lead to an impeachment inquiry.
Oh,
Oh wow!
God.
Not even an impeachment,
It's
an
sickening.
inquiry into a maybe
And
impeachment later.
click on this link and send me money. That's how
Yeah.
it works. It's
Yeah,
just
that
a
is
total
exactly
con
how it
job.
works.
Yep,
They're both
that's
in
what
on it.
is.
All of them are in on it. All of them.
Well, let's. There's times they are changing because we have an election coming up. Let's jump to this story from NBC News. Okay, Ron DeSantis fires staffer who retweeted video with Nazi imagery.
Oh, God.
So, They say Nate Hockman, a communications staffer over the weekend, promoted and then deleted a video that superimposed a Sonnenrad over the candidate's face. I believe that's called the Black Sun.
Yeah.
So this video is super cringe. It's got Kate Bush playing in the background. It's one of those meme videos.
You're not calling
really
her cringe, are you?
super
'Cause
cringe.
Kate Bush is the shit. Okay.
It's a good song.
But the
Running
video,
up that hill.
so it's this video where it's like Trump
She's
is
got an
cringe.
irritating voice.
Hey, look who's talking.
I know that was a joke, fool.
Then how come no one laughed?
Because nobody gets me.
Hey, someone put a laugh track for Roseanne so she feels more at home.
I never use a laugh track.
Oh, live studio audience. I'm not scared of you anymore. I used to be really scared of her, but then I saw she's really sweet. Yeah,
So-
that's right. I ruined your secret.
But that's disturbing.
Well, so when I first heard this, someone like a pro-Trump kind of person was like, a DeSantis campaign staffer just retweeted this. I saw it, Phil, you retweeted it. You were like, this looks like intentional sabotage
Yeah,
or something.
it looked like something that someone would do if they were looking to harm the Ron DeSantis campaign.
That's
I
why
don't know.
That's why I don't believe it. I'm like, certainly this is a Trump supporter trying to make it look like DeSantis did something wrong, but
Firing the guy was the right move. Though.
Yes.
that was
I'd
probably
say
a
so.
good move.
They don't
I've
have the
told
video
you
on here,
before,
though.
I think that DeSantis' role in this movie is he's playing the heel for Trump. That's what I think.
Do you think they're
I
working
think
it?
it's all a movie, and it's all to, get people to actually have some awareness of what's right in front of their damn face and wake up to it. And yeah, I think he's playing the heel because people that don't want to vote Democrat no more, they're going either independent or they're actually thinking, I'll go a little bit further.
Shoot.
And maybe I'll vote DeSantis, but then they're like, whoa, he's even more far right than Trump. So then they're going to look at Trump.
Should I play the video so people can see what we're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
I want to point out too, people said that whoever made it had something against me because the guy's wearing a beanie with the gray brim. And
That's a Wojak.
I know it's a witch. I'm not going to play the audio because
Yeah.
it's just Kate Bush and I don't want to get a
Running up
copyright.
that hill.
I think it is.
Dear
a cover,
Republicans,
but-
your favorite president. It's basically he's like sad and smoking and he's wearing a beanie and Trump's waving an LGBT flag. I'll just jump through it. You don't need to watch the whole thing. Then it like shows DeSantis. Oh, you know what? I got to show the super cringe part when he appears in the door. Like what is this? Look at him. And then he's like wearing now the Wojak is happy. And he's like, oh, look, it's Ron DeSantis spaceships and women in bikinis. Life is good.
This is so many levels of irony. It's hard to figure out
I
if it's
know.
earnest or not.
That's why I'm like, I don't believe they actually made this because it's so cringe. But it's the end where the Nazis are marching towards the Sonnenrad with DeSantis in the middle, where I was like, okay,
And it's
there's
kind-
no way this is from his campaign.
If you know what the imagery is, it's a very jarring to be like, oh, that's where you're going.
I got to be honest, when I started laughing.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, it's hilarious.
I was like, what is this? The whole thing is ridiculous. Here we go. Look.
That started.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Whoa. The way you described it, I thought, like, it's in the background. The guy didn't notice it. It's holy crap.
No, it's like jarring.
It's spinning
Oh,
around.
my God.
Well, the gays do not like DeSantis over what's
Look at this,
happening with
just like
Disney
bang.
down there.
Holy
the
crap.
gays hate him,
And
and
there's-
so they're doing this.
Yeah, but this was retweeted by his campaign staff. So when I
Actually on the staff, not just a supporter.
no, it was just look, this is the story.
what are you
Holy
thinking?
crap.
Fire staffer who tweeted video with Nazi imagery.
Did he?
I'm sorry. Even if that Nazi imagery wasn't there, you do not retweet this video because it makes DeSantis look like a tool.
Oh, this is the DeSantis campaign.
I don't
Well-
I don't understand how someone had this tweet, and you probably know who I'm referring to. I forgot the guy's name, and he goes like, 2020 DeSantis is the greatest governor in America. 2021, 2022, 2023, like DeSantis is terrible. Like it flipped on a dime.
Well, because he got remember what DeSantis took measurements against. I mean, he took measures against the LGBTQ plus community in Florida and Disney, and they didn't like that. And
but-
then remember, just like 2 weeks ago, Trump had the big pro LGBTQ party at Mar-a-Lago.
DeSantis is attacking from the
But
right.
I'm surprised.
But-
What I
but-
meant
but
is I'm
yeah.
surprised that how the Republicans all
Right.
flipped overnight to hating DeSantis. It was so weird.
And I'm not surprised for two reasons. The first attack against DeSantis was disloyalty. that Trump
That
helped
which
him,
makes sense.
and
Yeah.
then DeSantis decides he's going to go to a bunch of big neocon donors, established Republican donors, to run against Trump. It's like, kicking Trump in the butt.
Yeah.
But then
And he did it because he wanted to go even more right, getting rid
Right.
of gay stuff, which a lot of parents think was the right thing to do. But then, he brings in Soros as a backer, so it's like,
I don't think that's true.
That's not. He didn't bring
Yeah.
a Soros as a backer.
He
Yeah.
takes Soros money.
I don't think he does.
no, that's
Yeah,
a
I don't
complete.
think
That's
true.
that's complete. Not
I
true.
read that in 2 or 3 sources.
You just said 20 minutes ago that you don't believe all that stuff. That's not
well,
true.
I read it in 2 or 3
yeah,
sources.
it's not. It's complete. Like
okay,
yeah.
so that might not be true.
No,
but
and they lied, claiming that Soros endorsed DeSantis, which is not true either. They've been trying to look.
I don't trust anything that I want to say this correctly, but anything that has to do with children's school books
Yes.
and being pro child pornography in the schools, I'm not for that. Okay, and I'm not for anything that George Soros is for.
Yes, amen.
But-
and we're
Right.
both saying this is Jewish people, by the way.
I'll tell you what this may be. Here's what I thought when the DeSantis supporters started zealously insulting me. Not
Did
all
they
of them.
really?
Oh, it's relentless. I'm like I'm not. I get attacked by everybody on
Yeah,
Twitter,
yeah.
right? But they act very much like Antifa style leftists on
Yes,
Twitter.
they do.
Tweet in the very same way. And so at first I thought these people are trying to sink DeSantis by false flagging him. Pretend to be a DeSantis supporter. Like you see a lot of these accounts that pretend to be Democrats and say stupid things. People fall for it. And then it was DeSantis' own campaign staff that started insulting me.
Did they really? Like
Yeah.
who?
I won't name
talk
it. They're,
out there, okay,
they're
yeah.
communications people, right?
Okay, I know them. Okay.
Yeah, they're miserable at their jobs, and so without naming, I don't want to get people dragged and then get them mobbed or
of course,
whatever.
yeah.
But there's a handful of high-profile conservative pundits who were pro DeSantis all last year, and now are outspoken against him because these staffers, supporters, and surrogates on Twitter are the most vile people. Not all of them, not every single one. Of course, there are a lot of good people. I have friends who are big, who
Some
work
very fine people.
very
some.
fine people.
Both
some
sides.
and some I think are very fine people. But even when I've defended DeSantis, I get attacked for it. And then I get these same people who have insulted me demanding that I cover their stories in defense of DeSantis, tweeting at me, and I'm just like, you people are despicable. So I'm just like, I'm not having it. You know that video, that LGBT video that was retweeted by the DeSantis War Room? That was made by the DeSantis campaign. They passed it off to a third party to make it seem like they didn't make it, but they did.
I'm
That's why I think it's COINTELPRO, the whole thing.
something.
DeSantis' campaign?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he's playing the heel.
Something is not adding up because the biggest criticism of Trump from Trump supporters is he didn't deliver the goods. And in his defense, he lost the House, he only had like 50 senators to begin with
Yeah.
and whatever. And the argument is, well, DeSantis did in Florida. The fact that he's like overnight become like a joke and like Jeb Bush, like I've never seen any politician's fortunes flip so quickly
Howard
in my
Dean, was that his
lifetime.
name?
I was just gonna say
But
Howard Dean.
But Howard Dean had a raw deal, right? And
Because Disney
we
did-
could point to something specific that's
And I can point to something specific with Ron DeSantis.
What?
I'm leading the great American comeback. That was his campaign announcement. That moment was like a bang. And all of a sudden people were like, wow.
I think you're right, though, Roseanne. Or at least you're saying
She's
something
always right.
interesting in that he went hard against Disney, which is like one of the most powerful
And
corporations
then he
on earth.
capitulated.
And then Disney never really said anything about it publicly.
Oh,
they
yes,
did.
they did.
Oh, yes, they did.
What's her name? Sunny Hoyson on The View.
Yeah.
She says she drives down the street in Florida screaming, gay, gay, gay out the window. Oh, yeah, they came hard.
Well, maybe she means she's a
hard for
homophobe.
him.
And then
Disney came back. Disney came hard for him.
Yes.
And he capitulated. He didn't stand up against Disney at the very end. He totally capitulated.
at some
to
point they said Disney made a statement like we don't kind of want to bury the hatchet. We don't want to push this any harder. But
They
we're
buried
in
the
age,
hatchet by giving Disney everything
They buried the hatchet in
wanted.
him.
Interesting.
Yeah, they
in his
did.
campaign.
Yeah, in
but
his
we're in
back.
the age of psychological operations
Yes.
right now. So to think this, just to pretend like it's another year, another election year, it's like, no, dude, we have deepfakes, AI, and like
Yeah.
massive manipulation in the back end. So people could be twisting this guy's campaign.
in Brazil, I think it was Brazil, there was
Look at
some leaked audio And they claimed this politician, I'm not sure if it was Brazil, claimed this politician said these offensive things. And it turns out that one of them was AI generated, one of them was not.
Right,
And this is exactly what I've been warning about. And this is exactly why I said when DeSantis' campaign created deep fake images of Trump and Fauci to smear Trump and then labeled it real life Trump, I'm like, they just crossed a very, very dark line.
Yeah, they did.
And DeSantis, they still have the tweet up, as far as I know. They never said anything about it. They never fired anybody. They did nothing. He was fine with it. I think DeSantis, in terms of leadership in Florida, did a fantastic job. It's great. I think
That's the thing, right? Because it seems like if you took off his name and you ask all these people who hate DeSantis, would you support a governor with this record of president? They trip over themselves. There's a disconnect here for me.
Until you see his leadership.
Sure.
Until you see the mistakes made by the campaign, his failures to address them, and you get all these people who support him saying that policy matters more than charisma, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, dude, let me just say, I think he is the best politician in the country in terms of what a politician can be. In Florida, he did a great job. Ask yourself, after all of these great things, why his polls are sinking.
People in Florida feel like he just walked out on him to go campaigning. They said he hadn't finished half of the stuff he was in the middle of, and he capitulates at the end. So, a lot of people in Florida are mad because he kind of just goes, hey, I did a great job here for 2 years, see ya. But, that's just the nature of politics in the United States. So you get a chance to raise. You have to get $1 billion to lose an election.
I'm going to make 2 points about that. Here's the other thing that's really crazy. If you have any criticism of Joe Biden on social media, right away you're a Trump supporter, right?
Yeah.
If you have any criticism of Trump, you're a DeSantis supporter. If you have any criticism of DeSantis, you're MAGA. It's bizarre how binary it's gotten. I'm just going to make 2 points. One is the argument for DeSantis running now was Obama in 2008, where Obama was supposed to wait his turn. It was supposed to be Hillary's nomination. Obama said, screw that. He got that and he became the White House. So there's a path there for DeSantis historically. The other is, until Trump, the nominee for the Republican Party was always, for 40 years, the guy who lost the last time. Reagan lost in 76 against Gerald Ford. He was the nominee in 80. George W. Bush ran against Reagan in 80, became the nominee in 88. Bob Dole ran in 92. So the pattern, Mitt Romney lost against McCain, then he became the nominee in 2012. Trump broke that pattern. So there's also room for running and losing. This is the Republican Party, it works, and then being the nominee the next time.
I don't believe there is a traditional path to the presidency for Ron DeSantis or Vivek Ramaswamy or Tim Scott. But I say Vivek because he's in third place in most of the polls, even rivaling DeSantis. There's no traditional path. The path for these gentlemen, presumably DeSantis in second place, maybe Vivek keeps rising in the polls, is going to be Trump's indictment and removal from the ballot.
Or forced to step down. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think that that's going to happen, because I don't think they can. They can indict him for 100 years, and that isn't going to stop him.
Can I say one thing though?
And they can't keep him off the ballot.
They can't.
Although
here's where you're wrong.
Something really bad is happening now with Biden appointing. They say Biden's going to come out and say, "Oh, the CIA is going to be in charge of 2024 elections."
Here's something I learned about when I was writing the book, The White Pill, about the Soviet Union. You can, sit there and you could be like, "There's nothing you could do to me. I'm going to be the nominee. I'm going to run. There's nothing. I don't care. You throw the charges you want." What these totalitarian regimes do, and I'm not saying we're in a totalitarian regime, but I'm just saying what evil people do. They go, "That's cool. You've got a wife, right? And you've got kids, right? And you've got grandkids, right? Okay, cool. We're not going to do anything to you." So very quickly, when you start targeting those people, everyone starts to fold, and with good reason. So they have a lot of those cards to play, and I wouldn't put it past them.
There was,
especially with the Trump organization indictments.
I'll keep this vague.
That's true.
Because of that, but there was an individual who was running who dropped out recently, and this had been discussed publicly, but I'm not going to say the individual's name because they're family, but they dropped out because of the risk of their family.
Yeah.
And this was like a Trump MAGA candidate, and so we'll just leave it at that, but this is a reality.
Yes.
Well, it's just so scary and horrible. I'm so afraid. I just have to say, I'm so afraid.
What are you afraid of?
What's happening to our country and how divided we are, how we can't get together to make it better for all of us. We'll go down fighting at each other.
But when the government
owners are getting richer, and it's just awful.
But Roseanne, look at 2008. When the government gets together, it screws over the middle class in the favor of people who have political access and power.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm scared of that and how bad it's going to get for regular people.
Do you think we should abolish the 17th Amendment?
Which one is that?
Popular vote for senators by.
I think that's a great idea.
Because then
That's a great idea.
Say
But
again.
the
I
whole-
don't know about it. What?
Yeah, the Senate used to be appointed by each state. Like the House, the legislature of each state would pick the senators.
I thought it was still that way.
no.
No, you vote for your senator in whatever state you live in.
Right. I knew.
No, but it used to be like the people don't vote. The state Congress picks the senators for the federal government. So
But-
the Texas legislature will pick the 2 senators.
And you know why they?
Oh my God! I didn't know. How stupid am I?
No, it's just-
I
but
thought
you know
the
why-
people were picking.
No, they are now, but
Oh.
after this amendment, this is like in the 1890s, 1910s.
Oh no, they got to
19,
get rid of that.
So you know what the reason for it
I
was?
didn't even know.
The
Yeah.
reason for it was because they said that political insiders were choosing their friends to
Oh,
become
yeah.
senators. And so they said, this is corruption. How do we stop it? Have the people directly vote for their senator, which I think was a bad idea.
But
And the big cost is the whole point was that the Senate and the House were supposed to be as different as possible. The Senate were like
representing the states.
and also kind of this aristocracy, like big shots who go into Washington. They're kind of like elites, and they're there to represent the state specifically, and they're not going to be privy to like the popular whims of the day. Whereas the House, is like the lowlifes.
Wasn't it Lords and Commons?
It was kind of sort of like
Yep.
the House are like the lowlifes. And I don't mean that in a negative way, just like the rabble. And it's like this is where we make our voices heard.
But so what would happen is this: you in your local district, state district, vote for a senator, representative. You're more likely to know them because they're only
Yes.
representing a couple thousand to 10,000 people. That individual then votes for a senator. So you now have to be involved in local politics. 17th Amendment got rid of that, and now nobody even knows who their local reps are.
Yeah.
They don't know who their mayors are half the time. Probably more than half the
But
time.
that's also a good thing in this sense because a lot of times these local governments and like you see even like the New York City City Council, they're a lot less partisan and ideological because they're more like cutting deals and like doing maybe New York is a bad example recently, but a lot of it's just cutting deals and trying to figure out what's going to work for everybody, and you're less driven by the party elites.
Well, it's just like the guy that owns the biggest used car lot has the biggest say in Congress,
Yeah.
which is so corrupt and so horrible. I mean, I think we should really take a look at our government. I like Trump for that reason because I thought he could streamline things and make them more fair and more workable. Not just him, but
Sure.
a whole bunch of people who had the human being's best interest in mind.
Who do you think for 2024, Michael?
Who would I think in what capacity?
Like president?
What do you think? What do you mean think?
Like, who would you prefer if you had to make a choice, be president based on who's available to choose?
I know the chat room is going to have a meltdown. I know. What I would love to see happen.
Don't say Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
No, I'm not going to say that he's a sociopath. in my opinion. I think he's. I'm not joking. I think
Really?
I think Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is an absolute sociopath.
I do too.
you should interview him.
What's that?
You should interview him.
Sure, I'm happy to interview him.
Maybe
but
we'll have
I'm sure he's perfectly charming, but the Kennedy family are very evil. They gave Rosemary Kennedy a lobotomy, and they sent her away, pretended she was just on vacation for decades. This is why they started the Special Olympics. Look them up. They're really sinister people. Joe Kennedy's. They're a drug dealing family. This is talk about Banana Republic. This is how things happen in South America. You have this big drug dealer like Pablo Escobar, and they take over the government.
That was kind of a notoriously stolen president.
Yes, 1960.
Too.
My point is, what I would love to see happen is to have a corpsey Biden and a massive Republican reaction in the Congress. And I think that is not, and that's the only way we in our life. Hold on. Let me finish. I told you the chat room was going to freak out. That's the only time in our lifetime where we had a balanced budget was when you had a very weakened Democratic president and a very insurgent Republican Congress.
What year was that?
97, 98.
Balanced budget. We're so past a damn balanced budget.
That's what they said in 94, and then they did it.
We got China. We got China and Cuba and Russia coming for us now.
I'm more worried about
What are you talking about a balanced budget? We're gonna have another
And the
Cuban
DOJ.
missile crisis right at our doorstep within 6 months.
What is
And the
that?
DOJ.
What does one have to do with the other?
They're gonna bomb us to the next world.
So we should spend more money?
Hell yeah, and not pay a dime of it back. Hell yeah.
I'm more concerned about the DOJ.
I think if there is a big House majority, then Mayor Garland's going to get impeached.
I don't think so.
Okay, that's my prediction.
So what we
Roger
see,
Taylor Greene has already started talking about it.
You've got a decent handful of insurgent Republicans right now that
Yes.
are pushing really hard, and even then not pushing as hard as many people want. And then if you get a Republican majority, it's still going to be dominated by neocons.
Not necessarily. Not if
That's
it's a huge
true.
reaction. Here's my other concern, and I think everyone would agree.
I get
If
it.
you have Trump in again, which there's definitely pluses to that, I think on the state level, people like Whitmer, Newsom, Kathy Hochul are going to be pushing policies that are so deranged and radical as a reaction to Trump that it's going to make 2023 look like a cakewalk.
Well, what about
That's a big fear of mine.
2023?
Michelle Obama.
Meaning what they pushed in 2023 is going to look like nothing compared to what they pushed.
2020, you mean, or
No, like now, the kind of shit they're pushing now.
okay.
Would you feel better if it was Michelle Obama as president and then a Republican
No,
resurgence
I want
in
a
the Congress?
I want a corpse.
But the only problem I have is like what Roseanne was saying about Cuba, like military, international
What
military
makes you
command.
think Michelle Obama is in any way qualified to deal with some
Yeah.
type of military issue in
she
Cuba?
did that diet thing about losing weight.
She's got and I'm not saying she's the greatest. I'm not saying she's the greatest military commander.
And the
did that-
Cubans
she
are
did that
hungry, so
diet.
she can speak their language.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
kind of picked her because I don't think she's the best or even like a great military commander. I have nothing to go on, but way better than
It
someone
doesn't-
falling
listen,
into dementia.
That doesn't. No, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
In this context, it doesn't matter.
just said that he cured cancer,
I know what you're saying, but the point that I'm making is, whether it be Michelle Obama, who's ignorant about military, military action, or Joe Biden, who's not in contact with reality, it doesn't matter because the people making the decisions are still going to be the generals.
That's exactly. I agree with
but
Phil
that's
completely.
not good.
Listen,
Well,
what,
no,
But
no
that's
one's saying
not-
it's good.
It's not up. It's not up for debate. That's what it's going to be.
Barack would kind of run the show.
I don't
he
want to run
already
the show.
is.
Yes.
This is his third term. Listen, there's nobody but Trump. Nobody but Trump can do what needs to be done. And you know what? They're already, you're going to say everything I say is a tinfoil hat, and my son does too. I know. But people.
That's quite an intro. But
Okay. But I think things are going to change real big by the end of the year. I do.
I agree with you.
I don't think that the Republicans are going to impeach nobody. They're all in bed and they all took Epstein money too.
I'm not. Wait, hold on.
They're not going to do
I'm
nothing.
saying if there is a huge reaction against, because when Biden was elected in 2020 or voted in, wherever, calm down, chat room, for the first time like ever, the House of the other party picked up seats. So what I'm saying is if Biden squeaks through in 2024, it would not be impossible for the House to massively have that red wave that was supposed to happen in 2022. And then there might be enough to actually start really doing impeachments.
I don't even think we're going to have an election, Tim. I don't think we're going to have no election
You wanna
in
bet money?
2024. I'll bet.
How much? $100?
How much you got?
Not as much as you.
I'll bet big. I don't think we're going to have no election.
$1,000.
All right, I'll bet.
Shake
you.
hands.
I hate shaking hands. Go like this.
It's worth it. Oh, that was a good one.
$1,000. So if we have an election 2024, you're going to give me $1,000.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Jake, does she have it? Yeah. Does she have? You don't have like a Britney Spears relationship with her, right? She has control of her money.
I got $1,000, but
Okay.
you're going to have to pay me $1,000 when we do not have no election.
I would be delighted.
Well,
and I'll buy you a nice dinner on top of that.
Why do you think there won't be an election?
Because I think the corruption is just beginning to come out. And I think it's going to avalanche the corruption of the Biden administration and the money they took. First, it's going to be about Ukraine and Russia. Then it's going to go into China. Then it's going to go into the DOJ. And it's going to be like a big old avalanche.
That would prompt an election.
Huh?
That would prompt an election.
No, because I think that it's going to get so bad in the streets, too, that I think the military is going to step in.
I mean, Michael, we've talked about many people have come on the show said this is like the one time they actually are not convinced there will be an election. That is not to say.
We hear that every 4 years.
But
No, we don't.
no, come on.
Yes, we
Not
do.
like now.
Not like now.
I remember very vividly in Newsmax.com in 2000, they were arguing that Clinton is not going to leave the White House.
And they argued that in 2016.
Yes.
But that's not every single time. This is the culture war period.
Do you want to in on
Yes,
this
this
action
is the-
too?
this
I'll bet
is the
$1,000 with you too.
I didn't say there wasn't going to be an election. I'm
Okay.
saying we've had people on the show where we've discussed what is the potentiality, what is the percentage rate of there not being an election, and it's not zero.
It's not zero. That's fair. We had an election during the Civil War. We had an election during World War II. So the best predictor of future behavior is history. So if there was precedent for canceling elections, I'd be more receptive to this argument. I don't. And here's the thing: they don't need to cancel it.
Exactly.
That's the point.
I know, it's disturbing.
It's much better for them to have a perception that when Trudeau got reelected. Hold on, let me finish my point in 1 second. When Trudeau just got reelected with the exact same number of seats as previously, he said, "Oh, I have a mandate. So they will absolutely have the election. Whatever happens, they'll say we have a mandate to do with the whatever
We need to clarify this. We need to
What
clarify.
if,
We need
what
to. We need to
if more
clarify.
information comes out
we need
that
to-
proves things that certain people don't think are ever going to be proven?
Okay, we need to clarify
Okay.
this bet.
Okay.
What do you mean by election?
I mean a presidential election.
Yeah, people go in and vote.
Okay, so in 1876, people went in to vote.
Yes.
And then the president was determined by a committee.
No, there were two sets of electors in Florida. I just read a book about this.
And they
right.
and
But they
were-
had an election.
And the election didn't matter.
It did matter. It was question of which votes are the ones to count.
And you know who decided which votes to count?
Because they had a conference.
And so
But they still had the election.
And they decided we are going to end Reconstruction and we're going to split this up so that
No,
we
that's a
don't
myth.
have another.
That's a historical myth. I'm telling you, I just read a book about this literally like in the last 6 months. Like so that's
But
what
why
we're
is
taught in high
that book
school.
correct and what I read not correct?
Because okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. The point is, I just read a book about this. This has been a historical thing that they cut this deal behind the scenes. It was much more complicated than that. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm not here to argue. It's 1876.
Well, with modern day elections, I'm concerned that there's going to be a dog and pony show, and they're like, "Hey, everybody voted," and they're like, "Hey, but we're just going to go in the back room and count it, and
Yeah.
then tell you what the answer is."
Like
You're like,
that-
"Dude, show me the votes
that's
in
the
public."
thing. Like, there's no for them to
Right.
actually have military law. It's really hard to put that over.
But we might
brazenly,
already
yes.
be under military law, and a lot of people don't know that we are.
Have you
Sure.
seen what your average SWAT team looks like? They look just like
Yeah.
special forces.
Well,
They're
Obama
geared up just.
militarized the
So let me
police.
Yeah,
let me
well-
just read this for you.
Sure.
And then, I'm not saying you have to believe it, but this is just Wikipedia, and it's not like it's an absolute source.
Sure.
It says the result of the election remain among the most disputed ever.
Right.
Although it is not disputed that Tilden outpolled Hayes in the popular vote, there were wide allegations of electoral fraud, election violence, and other disenfranchisement of predominantly Republican black voters.
Right.
After a first count of votes, Tilden had won by 184 to Hayes' 165, with 20 votes from 4 states unresolved. Florida, Louisiana, South Carolina, both parties reported their candidate to have won the state.
Right.
Oregon, one elector, et cetera, et cetera. An informal backroom deal was struck to resolve the votes, the Compromise of 1877. In the deal, the Democrats conceded the 20 contested electoral votes to Hayes, resulting in a 185 to 184 victory. In return, the Republicans agreed to withdraw federal troops in the South, marking the end of Reconstruction.
Right, but there's a difference between withdrawing troops and ending Reconstruction. So
Well,
if-
sure. Whatever it is, the point is,
The point is, why did they
the election
do?
did not matter
Because
you
there
can
was
argue,
fraud.
You can argue that the election mattered in the sense that the votes were there, and
Right.
they said, but if it ultimately comes down to a group of men meeting and saying which votes should we count, right? My point is not that the votes are completely out of the question and have nothing to do with what's going on. It's that the decision ultimately comes down to a group of better men.
Would you have
as they were
considered that?
But
described.
that's the Electoral College.
Right.
Like there was arguments in 2016 that even the people who Trump had won those states, they should still vote for Hillary. Like there was a lot of corporate journalists
Right,
arguing.
were they
for this stuff.
Hamilton electors or
Yes,
Staples electors?
yeah.
My point is,
In Georgia, right?
are we
Right.
going to have an election where even where you the votes come through, there are some legal battles, but ultimately they count, and we're like that's it, or is it going to be a dispute where everyone's fighting and arguing in the streets?
it will
I
be
think
the
that's
vote.
what it is.
I don't see it.
I lean towards your line of thinking. So there will be an election, is what I'm saying. The votes will be counted, and then just like 2020, there is going to be widespread dispute.
Here's why I don't think there's going to be people in the streets, because there weren't people in the streets during COVID. So Americans
What
are
are you talking
There were.
about? Yeah, there were.
Hold on. I
Black
know
Lives
that,
Matter.
the BLM people. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is a lot of the lockdowns and the pushback was far less than if you had sat us all down, I think everyone in this room, and it was 2019, and you said, all right, if these state governments are going to make it that you're not allowed to leave your house for 2 weeks for basically for what a lot of people think is no reason, are the American people going to stand for this, or is there going to be violence? We would have all said they're never going to be able to get away with it, but they did. So
I disagree.
okay, let me hear you.
So why did people riot like crazy all over the country? We joke, we call it the 529 insurrection. Now, on the surface, the media says Black Lives Matter. But as we've discussed in great detail, the real reason people in New York were rampaging through the streets was because they were locked inside and they had gone insane. And then their anger was directed towards some random cause. So you had the famous story where a guy calls 911 after people were ransacking his building. Ransacking his apartment building had nothing to do
Sure.
with BLM. He called the police and said, they're breaking into my building. What do I do? And they said, sir, the city is under attack. What would you have us do? On the surface, everybody said it was BLM. But the anger that was within people was because they had been isolated. They were getting pain sickly from lack of vitamin D. malnourishment, and then a catalyst sparked it off and they went nuts.
Tim, I don't think there was as much anti-COVID pushback in the anti-COVID populations and areas as I would have expected in 2019.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree with the idea that Republicans and conservatives who were complaining didn't do anything else.
That's all I'm saying.
But I believe the real reason for the mass unrest was not George Floyd. That was just a spark to give an excuse to people who are losing their mind.
I don't think they're
Think
losing their
about
minds.
it, though.
They weren't losing.
They bust in people and paid them, left piles and pallets of bricks and stuff. They brought in their operatives and took advantage.
We don't know that's
Tim,
true.
they
Yes,
were told.
it is true because it was all over the news. They'd find
It wasn't.
They'd find
People were posting old photos of construction sites and then claiming that they were just placed there, but that's just internet conjecture.
Tim, you had a
Okay,
large.
but I saw a lot of stuff on the internet.
I see some things.
That would, like January 6th, suggest to me that there were operatives who took advantage and were being bussed in and paid to like aggravate bad situations.
So
Tim,
you think the riots were not people pushing back against COVID? Lockdowns.
I think there were people. Yeah, I think there
Here's
was
what I don't
all
understand.
that. I
You-
think
what-
there was that, and I think there were aggravators added to it.
What about Ferguson? No one was locked in their homes during Ferguson, and there was riots for a long time. Baltimore is another one. So
Ferguson was not this like so in the 529 George Floyd area was some of the worst riots we've seen in decades.
Sure.
It happened all over the country.
right.
At the
And
same
even
time,
at the same time, and even in small cities that people never covered. Michael Tracy famously
Sure.
went down to these cities. That was unprecedented. Like, what? When Michael Brown was killed, we didn't see rioting to that degree outside of Ferguson. It was just Ferguson.
which is
that one
exactly
neighborhood.
my point. It
Because-
didn't come from the grassroots. It did not
It
come
came from the media.
grassroots.
These people-
It came.
Michael Brown was all in the media too.
Because no,
It didn't come from the grassroots. It came from agitators,
Yes.
and they were paid.
I don't know.
That's
My point
that's
is,
my point.
people who turn on their TVs, who have been angry for a very long time, who've been taught that things are shitty for them, that they should be angry, so on and so forth, saw that they could go out and manifest their anger and not only have no consequences, but will be lauded for it.
I agree.
So that's going to encourage a lot of people who don't have to lose
They
their
paid
minds.
their bail.
I
They
agree
paid
with
their
you.
bail.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is the anger was not because of Black Lives Matter, a small component. Their anger was because people were locked in their apartments and couldn't leave. They were becoming dejected, angry, and vicious. And then they said, hey, you're angry at this. And they were like, I can go outside and be angry now.
I can
And they let
see
it all
that
out.
being part of it too. Yeah, I can see that being a part of it. But I think that I think that the owners of this country saw an opportunity to burn down small businesses.
Yes.
Burn down small businesses and hurt neighborhoods that they had already targeted anyway with big corporate fascism. Is
You know,
what it is.
I've said this before, and I want to say it to get your guys' reaction. 529. Far left extremists tore down the barricades of the White House, injuring 70 plus police officers, set fire to a guard post,
Right.
set fire to St. John's Church, forced the president into a
Right.
bunker. If Donald Trump ordered the police to stand down, he would be president today.
Ordered the police to stand down.
Yep. On 5/29/2020, if Donald Trump ordered the police, if Bill Barr, whoever, ordered the police in D.C. to stand down and let the far left do whatever they want, we would not be talking about January 6th.
Yeah, but
we'd be
can-
talking about the torching of the White House.
But I
Then
mean,
we would have had the White House torched.
what would have happened?
So there's also some downsides, I guess.
Well, so my point is this:
And
What?
Donald Trump does not understand politics, strategy, culture war, conflict, etc. January 6th, the police are taking selfies with people. It becomes the insurrection. If these extremists burned down St. John's Church, if they tore the fences down, if they actually breached the White House, Trump would come out and say, we had fear that innocent people would be harmed if we advanced and engaged in active conflict in the streets of DC. We decided the smartest thing to do would be to save personnel and back off. I'm sorry, America. Far left extremists have destroyed elements of DC and our government, and that would have justified Insurrection Act or other
That's
actions.
what bothers me about January 6th,
I
man.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like letting people destroy your home just to get political, to play the victim and be like, oh, look what they
don't
did.
nobody live at the Capitol.
Right. So the issue is this. Donald Trump stopped
Why
the
do you
529
think
insurrection.
wait a minute. Okay, let me ask this. Why do you think they put up all those barricades and barbed wire fences around D.C.?
Are you talking about before January 6th or afterwards?
After?
Afterwards was as a show of force. To,
Yeah.
to intimidate the American people.
Tim, I would agree with you.
Why was everything facing in and not out?
What do you mean?
Why were the fences facing in towards the Capitol?
I don't think that's true.
like American
Yeah, we
bureaucracy.
Look at it.
we're but we have people who come from DC all the time. That was not something anyone ever said, and we never saw it.
The thing
I'll
about
show you the
529, I
pictures.
would agree with you more if the media weren't, especially at that time, so invested in scripting a narrative that was only tangentially related to reality. And I think you remembered, everyone here, hold on, let me finish my point, remembers very vividly that we were told that COVID's a problem, you have to stay in your house, and then as soon as these riots hit off, you have to be in the streets protesting and you're going to be immune from COVID.
And there's a limit. There is a limit that regular Americans can withstand.
I don't think Trump standing down would have hit that limit. I'm sorry.
If they ripped the fencing down at the White House and
and
burned down St. John's Church was on fire.
Yeah,
and
it
they
was.
stopped it. If they didn't, it would have burned to the ground.
But then
and
they
would
would have
and
won.
then people
But then they would have won.
and this no, they did win. So
Well,
the
yeah.
issue is this. Do you think like the CIA, I'll put it this way. I was talking to Occupy Wall Street activists back 12 years ago. And I said, do you think that, let's say it's feudal Japan, the ninja warrior walks up to the front gates and knocks on the emperor's door and say, we hereby demand the emperor stand down?
Yeah, he says, I'm the one who knocks.
Or does the ninja dress like a servant, sneak in the middle of the night, drops a few poisons to the emperor, and then sneak out? The in warfare, it's surreptitious, it's espionage, it's manipulation, it's psychological conflict in warfare. My point is this: nobody should be violent. January 6th should have never have happened. 529 should not have happened. My point is, whether you care, it has nothing to do with what should or shouldn't happen. It has to do with the logical steps of what does happen. On January 6th, people stormed into the Capitol. The media then showed all of these images and said insurrection, violence breaking out, people fighting, and that terrifies people who don't pay attention.
Sure.
If on 529 they did the same thing and had the police taking selfies with protesters and letting them ransack, the media can try, and that is an advantage that the establishment has, but there is a limit. St. John's Church being burnt to the ground, guard posts being burned, the president being locked in his bunker for 2 days.
They burned down police stations and no one cared because they weren't discussed.
That's not true that no one cared. Black Lives Matter went from its highest approval rating ever to its lowest point ever following those
No one
riots.
cared to the point that it would have made a difference in having Trump reelected.
I think you're wrong.
May 29, all it takes is like an ABC article that says Trump let them burn the White House down, and that would have just
that would have done.
wrecked his chances.
Yes,
Well,
there you
some
go.
people
Yeah.
I disagree.
say- Some people
Everything
say,
bad is Trump's fault.
No, some people say this where you're really going to think I'm crazy. But some people say that Trump signed a thing on December 18th called continuation. I'm sorry. Some people say, a lot of them, military people, and believe I actually stick my nose in military business, that Trump signed a thing on December 18th, continuation of government, and that we are under limited martial law right now already.
None of that stuff's true.
Well, how do you know?
Mostly because I
Go
go to the
on,
store.
go
So
on.
let's-
go on.
Because he's deep state.
Yeah,
No,
I've been-
go on. Go on.
He's controlled opposition. Come on,
I'll
Roseanne.
show you on the military. I'll show you on the U.S. military sites that I read.
I'll start from the beginning. First, we can talk about the
I
NDAA
believe that they
indefinite
were
detention
all.
authorization.
I believe that they were all arrested.
Oh, no.
I believe that they took
Oh, no. Here we go.
everybody out.
Here we go. Oh, no.
Never
and
happened.
that they're playing their parts, and that we're going to see military tribunals by
That's
the end
never
of
gonna
this
happen.
year. I believe it.
You want about another thousand? So the military tribunals will be public?
They already have happened.
Will they
and
be public
will-
by the end of the year?
Yes.
You want about another $1,000?
Roseanne, I
That's
like
$1,000 on that too.
Okay, so $1,000 that there will be no public military tribunals.
No, I'm saying there will be.
And I'm saying there's not the bet. That's the bet.
Limited military tribunals will be shown by the end of this year.
And I'm saying no. So will you bet $1,000?
No, it's only like
yeah,
4
I'll bet
months.
$1,000 on that.
Okay,
yeah.
here we go. Do the hand thing.
I love
4 months.
I love Roseanne's optimism.
I guess when you have Roseanne money, you can just
Listen,
make these bets
no,
and you
I'm
don't care.
Is that a joke?
Listen, it's not because
We have the video clips here.
I can show you clips.
This is why I brought her, so I can
I
be
can
rich.
show you clips and all kinds of stuff that you've never even seen. I can show you stuff. But I'll tell you why I believe it, because I read The Art of War, and I know that Trump's a badass, and he's not going to let any of them get away with anything. And he locked up Cheyenne Mountain, and they can't get at it. Too bad.
How do you know that?
Because it's all in the declassified documents.
Cheyenne Mountain is locked up, you say?
Be
Yes,
nice.
Trump locked up
Be nice to
Cheyenne
Roseanne
Mountain.
Barr, Tim Pool.
No, I
So
don't mind
let me tell you my favorite thing ever is we were watching a flat Earth video last week.
I
or
don't
2 weeks
believe
ago.
the Earth is
I'm not
flat.
saying you do.
It's an oval.
And my favorite thing,
Oblique spheroid, actually.
my favorite thing ever.
It's a cube,
It
you
is a
idiot.
spheroid.
Okay, every single diehard flat earther says, "Why can't we travel to Antarctica?"
Yes, we
Strange,
can.
isn't it? Exactly.
What the hell are
and
you
I'm
talking
like, what are you talking about? I know people who went there.
Metallica went there.
Joel Runyon
They just
did
make it up.
That's what that thing was going for, the Titanic deal. It was trying to get to Antarctica.
The Pentagon
Wrong
reactivated Cheyenne
hemisphere.
Mountain in 2020.
What
When did Trump lock it up? This is where they have the
Before he
Stargate.
Turn
by
the
the
screen
way.
for her so she could see.
Before he left.
This is where they have the Stargate.
What's
by the
in
way.
it? Oh.
This is where the Stargate is.
Go to the headlines so she could see, yeah.
This is 2020.
Joshua's in it.
When did Trump lock it down?
In 21.
Trump wasn't president in 21.
Yeah, he was, the first week.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yep, you are absolutely correct.
On January 20th.
Or the first month, whatever it was.
Cheyenne Mountain.
You can't trust Google. They're controlled opposition.
This is like underground research facility, Cheyenne Mountain.
Look,
It's called the DUM, Deep Underground Military Base.
The dumb.
I'm making so much money.
Oh, I was just in Colorado Springs. They were probably in those mountains. That's
Look
where
at-
NORAD
look-
command is. We drove by there.
Look under DUM.
Why is it up so
Okay,
high?
look,
DUMB.
first do Cheyenne Mountain.
Look under DUMB.
No, first do Cheyenne Mountain.
I did search for it. There's nothing there. Nothing comes up. And okay, you can make the argument Google's hiding it, but
Yeah, they are.
okay. So
And
when
that's
people come out and
Putin-
say,
when Putin gave, remember when Putin gave Trump the soccer ball?
when was that? No.
Wake up!
What?
Remember when they
Wake
met?
up!
Google when Putin gave Trump the soccer ball. And go,
Oh, there we go. Yeah, 2018.
Aha!
Wow, it's 5 years ago.
She still got you. Shouldn't have bet her that never happened.
Now this
I didn't say it
says,
didn't happen. I said, when was that? Oh, right.
Putin
I
has
lose
the
money.
electronic.
I got
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Diplomacy.
That's over there in Cheyenne Mountain. Check that out.
I've got an article from Daily Mail says, why is the U.S. military moving back into Stargate Base deep under the Rocky Mountains a
What
decade
date?
after it was abandoned? But this is from 2015.
Right.
Yeah, that's when it
Look,
started, 2015.
There are a lot of things we don't know about. There's a lot of things the government is doing we don't
There's
know
nothing
about.
I don't know about, honey. I am a nosy old Jewish woman, and I can get in anywhere. You
I
know
believe
what?
it.
Anywheres.
One thing is when you're as famous and damn good looking as me, Tim. I can stick my nose in anybody's business. I know how. I'm a grandmother, and I have stuck my nose in the thick of it this time.
Was Michael Jackson guilty what they accused him of?
I'm talking about Cheyenne Mountain.
I'm
honey.
talking
You
about
were
like-
talking about that.
Yeah,
That's
and that's, come on. You got.
I know
So-
a lot of military people, and I do think that the people in America, they're in for a big old wake up call.
Sick.
Things
Back
are
to Michael
gonna
Jackson.
4 months.
Things
Dude,
are going to get
4
way
months.
worse before they get better, but you better wake up, because
Wake up!
wake up and snap out of it, people. You got a lot of work to do.
I can imagine deep fake technology unleashed on the humans. Like there's stuff called talking plasma that the military is working on, where they'll triangulate lasers and then create a ball of plasma. And they'll move it around on a radar. It looks like a UFO.
Can I-
and they can project sound through the thing.
I got one sentence. Roseanne.
They can clone people.
Roseanne, hold on. One sentence. Will you please have Ian on your podcast?
I'd love to.
'Cause
I want to talk to you about that stuff.
I wanna pull up-
Antarctica. That's a big,
2
big
hours of
thing.
them. It's
Let's get
Yeah.
15 minutes. We have the story from the Daily Mail.
Okay.
Former defense official says the U.S. has recovered technology that, quote, did not originate on this
Wow,
earth.
cool.
Discuss.
I don't buy it. They're always going to tell us it's alien.
It's
to try-
always a distraction.
You know what the real story is?
What?
Former defense official says he was told by someone in government they've discovered technology, off-Earth technology. So the Daily Mail is framing it in such a way that it makes it sound like he's definitively saying he
Right.
was party
Right.
to it. But what he's actually, if you read it, he's actually saying America may have in our possession, and that he believes it happened because, what's the exact quote? He says, Mellon says he expects new information will surface, blah, blah, blah. I've been told that we have recovered technology that did not originate on this earth by officials in the DoD and by
You know
former
what that
intelligence
means?
officials.
That means it originated in Antarctica, which ain't on
It was
the
off
earth,
Earth.
it's under it.
There was a Stargate in Antarctica. That was Atlantis.
I'm going to make one point.
I believe that.
My grandfather was a big shot air traffic controller in the Soviet Union, high up in the military. I'm not high up, whatever. He's the air traffic controller, so there's certain levels of clearance. He told me that they would see things that could not, and these were like trained, people. It's not just some random jerk on the street. It's someone jerk in high office. He would say they would see things on their radar that they could not explain all the time. And this was very understood from both sides, and it wasn't technological. It was like, okay, this doesn't make sense.
Radar distortion, I think, is talking plasma or other stuff like it.
Right.
Lightweight drones also,
Okay,
like
sure.
metamaterials, things like aerogel, alloy, like hardcore machine material that's lighter than air. They will float in the air.
Yeah, but okay.
That stuff in the vaccine is, remember, what is it?
Graphene oxide.
Yeah, that stuff
No.
is
I
the
love
most
these two together.
amazing.
I love these two together.
This is right here, Roseanne. I got.
No, that stuff is amazing. It's the strongest
Yes, but it's not in
thing
the
in the
vaccine.
world.
You're talking about
No.
graphene.
Oh, graphene.
Yeah.
No.
They
There we
found
go.
Okay,
there's
It's
but
all
plants-
whatever it is, they say it's in the vaccine, but I don't know
was-
that.
random people
but
on the
it
internet
is
say a lot
the
of things.
strongest thing in the universe.
You can get it from carbon dioxide.
No, it's
I
you
love
can
it
make
so
it out
much.
of the
Let
air.
him go. Let him go.
I have some here. I'm
Yeah,
looking
you
for
make
it.
it out of air, and it can take any shape, right?
Graphene. It's
Yeah.
hexagonally like honeycomb lattice, one atom thick.
The world is breaking down.
You can turn it into like, you can make like tubes out of it.
Yeah, it can take any shape.
I mean, hypothetically, I don't know if any shape
No.
is the right phrase because
Oh.
You're talking about
some
different things.
Nanomolecular level.
okay.
Are you talking about like a liquid metal
Yeah.
material?
That's what
This
I
is
thought
like Harley
originally.
Quinn
Oh,
talking to the
you see
Joker.
those videos where the graphene is being moved around
That's
magnetically,
what I
like
saw,
Okay,
yeah.
ferromagnetic
okay,
graphene or
right.
something?
You're not getting this back in the
Yeah,
rails.
I
you
want
make
to. I want to.
liquid robots?
I want to say something to Michael Malice.
Yes, sir.
So it was. I think it was 2006. I had just stopped working at O'Hare Airport in Chicago. I had friends who still worked there, and they confirmed this story to me. I had a friend who was. I think he was on his way to O'Hare. I had worked for American Eagle Airlines, a regional airline. You can look up photos of this. The photo of the UFO exists. There was a gray saucer-shaped object that came down from the clouds and hovered above O'Hare, above the United Express terminal, which I believe was the C gates. I could be wrong, C or D, and stayed there for a few minutes and then shot straight up into the clouds and punched a hole in it. I don't know.
A hole in the clouds?
A hole in the clouds,
Okay.
leaving a hole with sunlight coming through. And apparently a pilot looked out and had some like rudimentary old cell phone with a picture. He took a picture of it somehow, and the photo exists. You can Google it. You can find the photo. People I knew who worked there said they saw it. People like these are regular guys,
Right.
Mid 40s. They're not superstitious. They watch football and they played Xbox. They cared nothing for this, and they were like, I don't know what that was, man.
And they've seen things, so they would know if it's something normal.
And here's the crazy thing. My friend who was on his way to work said on Mannheim Road, right next to the airport, people stopped their cars in the middle of the road, got out, and were staring at it.
Okay, yeah.
And then we're just like, so what was it? We don't know what it was. But it's a famous UFO story. You can read all about it. And I had left, so I didn't see any of it. But so all I can say is hearsay. I asked people who were there, and they said they saw it, and they couldn't explain it.
I was talking to Kash Patel, who I think
yeah.
was he at the Defense Department with Trump?
Yes, I believe
and
so.
I was like, do we have craft that can go out into space and then go under the ocean? And he was like, huh, can't tell you that one.
Yeah, of
and I
course
was like,
not.
okay. He didn't say yes. So thank you.
He didn't say no.
He didn't say no.
Well,
and he
they're
looked
so
at me like,
far
I can't tell
ahead.
you.
They're 50 years ahead of what we know.
Yeah.
The stuff they can do.
At
And
least
I
when
wanna-
they raided
wanna-
Tesla's laboratory, that was like 100 years ago. The stuff that he was working on.
I got to point out, people have posted a lot of fake photos. There's weird CGI garbage, and I wonder if it's intentionally trying to shut the story down. So here, let me pull this up right here. This is Musings of an Explorer. I just Googled it. And you can see this image, which I believe does look like the image I remember. I'm not sure. And there's something, this is 2006. This is before iPhones. Cell phones barely had cameras. They had really garbage cameras. And I don't know how the photo was taken. It says taken at O'Hare, November 7th, 2006. I had just stopped working there, I think in like August. And so my friends, people I knew were all still there. I called them. I was like, yo, what is this? I heard this story. Crazy. And there's supposedly the image.
Can I say one thing, just one sentence? I want to give a big FU to Ashley St. Clair because she told me to watch Arrival, and the first 2/3 of the movie are awesome, and then the conclusion sucks. So I wasted 2 hours of my very short remaining life. So FU, Ashley.
It was Seagate.
What?
Arrival?
Arrival, yeah.
It was Seagate, which I believe is United Express, which was right next to us. So I think we were D, and like H. That was the American Eagle gates. So right across, we'd see United Express. We never go there. That's their different company. And it was right above the sea gates. So the craziest thing, though, and you read these stories and they say 12 employees saw it. I'm like, dude, I had a friend who worked there said that people were getting out of their cars in the middle of Mannheim Road, this big, state or local highway. And it's like got street lights. It's not like an expressway.
And let's talk about misinformation. So
it was hanging around for a while.
For a couple minutes. It floated there.
Let's talk about misinformation. 5 minutes. Because there's people who say, there was a book that was published, I think, in France at the time, claiming that 9/11 never happened and that the World Trade Center towers are holograms, right? So the point being, if you have any questions about these issues, right away there's enough misinformation out there
that's true.
like, oh, so you're saying that they're holograms and it was shot down by lasers? So a lot of times there's enough of this nonsense that's flooded to make it seem that anyone's asking about something you just talked about, where sane, sober, daylight, working class, regular people are eyewitnesses. You could sweep it all under the rug by just accusing it of being the most extreme version.
Anti-gravity.
Well, because people say no planes flew into the buildings.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So they say that was CGI.
Right.
This is what bothers me about most conspiracy theories is that people who engage in the most extreme thinking on an issue actually make it impossible to get to the bottom of an issue. And so I'll give you an example. When the emails got released by WikiLeaks, where this started the whole Pizzagate thing, someone said, is it more, what did they say? Is it better to try play dominoes on pizza or on pasta? One day, seemingly out of nowhere, someone fabricated this idea that these words were references to children. They were not. Now, there are certainly CP is a reference thing, cheese pizza was a reference thing, but they conflated this. And you know what I think it really was?
What?
Drugs.
Yes. But the point, I'll say one more thing, Tim. It was clearly not pizza. It was clearly code for something. And we don't know what that is.
And then what happens I want pizza for an hour.
Right,
Come on.
Heroin? Ecstasy?
No, but the point is not pizza. The point is it's not pizza.
Right, but so here's the issue. What's something that is entirely believable is that a bunch of White House people were doing hardcore Schedule I drugs like cocaine at a party, and they speak in code and emails.
Yes,
that could be.
We could easily investigate drug abuse and say, we want to get to the bottom of what they were talking about doing, but then all of a sudden, the internet blows up with the most insane conspiracies, and then immediately the media says, this proves it's fake, and regular people don't question it.
That's
but
true.
I'm going to say one thing.
I think they do that all the time.
But here's the thing. I don't think it's that insane, because very publicly, this administration killed a bunch of kids overseas, and no one even had a demotion for it.
Obama?
The surrender in Afghanistan?
Biden in Afghanistan. They're like, oh, we just killed a bunch of kids. Oh, too bad. No one got reprimanded. So you can't think it's too crazy that people in government are literally killing children all the time.
No.
Well, everything that I've said, that my children, I have 5 children, everything I've said for the last 20 years, they go, Godmother, you and your...
They call you mother?
When they're pissed. Godmother, you and your ridiculous conspiracy theories. Everything I said came true 3 years later. Okay? Every single thing.
Everything?
Yeah.
That
when
sounds
I
like
said it
hyperbole.
was a pedo, Ponzi, priesthood, pyramid scheme. Yeah, it's all true. It's coming true every day.
Well, in 4 months, we'll see if the tribunals have it.
But
Are you in on the bet, Tim?
No. I'm a fence sitter.
All right.
I want to talk about a little bit about anti-gravity because
Cut the stream. It's a wrap. you end on the high note.
there's a lot of muddied water on anti-gravity that it's impossible, obviously. But
It's totally possible.
I think it is.
Oh,
and there's
boy.
something called the Byfield-Brown effect. If you want to look into like something that might potentially be asymmetrical capacitor thrusters. And I'm wondering if I try and do these experiments with Jeremy Riss at his laboratory in New Jersey. And we were trying to figure out if you can increase horizontal velocity fast enough, you'll reduce vertical velocity to 0. And then you won't be interacting with gravity. So you'll be falling forward basically. And you can fall forward in any direction.
Airplanes overcome gravity.
No, they don't.
They
They
use
fly
wind.
in the air.
That's
for
not what
crying
gravity
out loud.
means. They're not overcoming gravity.
They
But
are
if you could
too, and
use-
so are trees.
if you could
trees
use an-
grow up against gravity.
Michael, the UFO is overcoming gravity right now.
Yeah, bitch.
There's also something called ionic wind, which might be able to use to push metal, super lightweight metal
Tim,
around in an atmosphere.
how do we fund a buddy comedy where they're both cops who have to work together? Like Rush Hour 4.
We should do it.
Hey,
100%.
bitch, do you understand the words that
Now,
are coming out of my mouth?
Hold on. Let me say this.
Like laboratories and stuff.
Ian mentioned aerogel. Do you know what aerogel is?
No, I don't.
It's a solid that's lighter than air, or I don't think it's completely lighter than air. It's not lighter,
So
but
it floats into the...
You can it's a solid, and you can tap it. And it will
And it's
Almost
super
floats.
heat resistant. You can
Yeah.
hit it with like blow torches, and
Wait,
it doesn't even.
this has been created or it's
Yes.
hypothetical? Okay.
Aerogel. Oh, they have aerographite now.
Learn a thing or two.
Is lighter than air.
So
It's 7 times lighter than air.
It is lighter than air.
A graphene aerogel.
It is that graphene. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah. We're going to start pulling it out of the carbon dioxide, and then we're going to have to figure out how not to pull too much out because we're competing with
You know
the
what?
trees.
I think I hear wedding bells.
So let's have babies.
Are you ready?
To the
To
top.
Hey,
Happy
Roseanne,
families.
you ready for number 6?
Here, take a look. Maybe we can find him. There is
I love
I'm not so
stuff
sure
like
it's lighter
that.
than air
It's
because
fact.
if it was
People
lighter,
can't accept that it's fact.
It's lighter. It would hit it would
float.
space. Yeah.
it would float. It would float to the top
Of the atmosphere. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if they show, but anyway, it exists.
Which
this
one are you
is,
talking about? Aerogel?
Veritasium has a video on it. So here's my point.
Yeah, there it is.
What about rods from God? Do you know about that?
Yes, that's
yeah,
right.
that was
Yeah.
thorium. Or
But the amount of tungsten
tungsten rods.
is it or is it palladium? But the amount of energy required to get that into space just is you're storing the energy and then you have to maintain it.
Wait,
with
what are these
thrusters.
rods from gods?
It's
What are
like-
It's a theoretical weapon where we launch a tungsten rod into space and then keep it in orbit, and when you release it, it's 10 times more power, 100 times more powerful than a nuclear bomb.
oh, okay.
Because gravity
falls
just
fast.
Oh, yeah,
rips
yeah, yeah.
through. But you have to use the same amount of energy to get into space. Then you have to use energy to maintain its orbit. So people say it's not really feasible.
Yeah,
but
that
here's
sounds
my,
like
here's my point about
disinfo to me.
aerogel. Aerogel being a solid. Suppose you can make, like, Ian mentioned graphene aerogel. Suppose you can actually make a super strong structure and then put components in it. So it's now basically an airboat.
And
Right.
the way
You mean like
do it-
Final Fantasy?
Yes.
So with an airplane, with a jet, you have wings. An airfoil creates lower pressure on the top, higher pressure on the bottom, causing it to lift.
Right.
Or I don't know. I'm not an expert on flight. But if when we look at these UFOs, it could just be an ultralight solid which can hold weight and then actually displace enough air so that it's hard for it to go down, and then uses standard thrust to move about very
Because
quickly.
Bingo. That's what I think they are.
Wait, real quick. Sorry. Something that really blew my mind, I never considered until I played Horizon Forbidden West. Do you know this video game?
No, I don't.
It's
I'm watching Arkanoid.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, great game.
Zero Dawn
Dude, 2
and
players.
Forbidden West are video games where it's a post-apocalyptic world. The world's been re-terraformed. So, spoiler alert, it's an old game. But something I never considered. In the new game, the character fights a guy who has a force field shield. After defeating him, she takes the shield and she jumps off buildings, activating it, and glides with it.
Cool.
And then I realized if force fields existed, humans could just fly using the force field because it's
Yeah.
weightless and displaces matter. The idea that you have a shield that weighs nothing, you'd parachute down and it would be weightless. That's crazy. Theoretically, if the force field could extend wide enough, you would not fall.
It's a lot like a boat.
You'd go right.
A
it
boat
would
in the water.
float.
The boat has air and it's lighter than the water.
We're sitting in a room with a rock star. So does hearing all this geek talk make you like, is this like garlic to a vampire? Like, like, isn't this like the opposite of being a rock star? Talking all this geek stuff?
No.
it plays right
Now-
into it. Vibration.
Nowadays,
Oh, okay,
nowadays the backstage, it's all nerds on their computer. Like the thicker the glasses the guitar player is wearing, the more likely it is that you're going to die in that pit.
Okay.
And
nowadays.
Phil was saying that backstage all the time they were playing D&D. That's all they did.
That kind of stuff, yeah. Their Magic Gathering, that does happen.
Oh, nice. That is pretty
Well,
rad.
rock star stuff is vibration and frequency and like
Yeah.
sound and all that. That's all that.
That's
stuff
true. That's
is
a good
the
point.
same.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all
Kymatics.
physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kymatics. It's
Yeah.
where you vibrate a membrane with sand on it. It'll take these different patterns depending
Wait,
on
I got a
frequency.
question.
Yeah.
What's your karaoke song?
Mine's Baby Got Back.
Nice one.
I like that one. Yeah, my friend wrote a takeoff of that called "Baby Got Front" for girls. It's so funny.
What's your karaoke song though?
Oh, Jake, what's my karaoke song?
You don't karaoke. No one likes when you sing.
You trained them
true.
well.
There you go.
I can't remember. Oh, Cowboy Sweetheart.
Oh, okay.
I like that
What's
one.
yours, Michael?
Probably Take Me Home Tonight.
Oh, it's a good song.
Who sings that?
Eddie Money.
Oh, I love Eddie Money.
He's
Yeah.
so good. I think I'm going to go with Plush by Stone Temple Pilots. I like hitting those high notes.
Oh, this is more off topic
What
than
about you, Tim?
graphene.
No, I'm saying I just don't have one.
Oh,
Yeah,
so the way you look at you're like, I can't believe we're having this
no,
conversation.
I'm shaking my head like,
oh, yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
Emotion
But you're an
by
actual singer.
Bjorn.
You must have a lot of songs that you like.
it's We Are the Champions. That's the one I like.
Oh.
from Queen.
I was just singing that because I just saw Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay, yeah.
And that song's so good.
It is the best song
Yeah.
ever.
Do you
I
go
forgot
into?
about
Doesn't it go into another song? They always play like the two back to back. It's "We Are the
Yeah.
Champions" and
And,
"We Will Rock You." Yeah.
What was it like? He doesn't say "of the world" in the end. That was an that was a version that was made for the credits of like the Mighty Ducks or something.
Oh.
Everybody
I thought he said
always
it.
everybody always sings "of the world" in the end. Something like that. But it's not actually in the original song. It's in
Oh.
like a remake.
Oh.
Something like that.
Okay.
I could be wrong. We're gonna go to super chats.
Hey,
And,
before we do,
you guys can ask about karaoke songs.
I'll finish up this metaphor about your boat in the air theory, because if you vacuum out a really strong piece of metal, then it becomes, you have the vacuum that's increasing
Right.
how much lighter it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll go deeper like that on
All right,
another show.
everybody, if you
That's
haven't
about
already.
atoms in space. We have to talk
Wow.
about that. too.
Would you kindly smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends if you like it, and head over to timcast.com, become a member, because the members only show will be coming up at about 10 p.m. over at timcast.com, where you as members get to call in and ask questions of us and our guests.
Belongs to the audience. Oh, God, that's death.
Oh, yeah, you're going to love it. All right, here we go. God's other son says, imagine going back to 1990 and telling people that one day Roseanne Barr would be better looking than Madonna.
Everyone said that.
It was a meme,
That's
yeah.
all over the place.
But it's
Yeah.
true. It's the truth.
Wow.
Take the
Yeah.
compliment.
Did you know her back in the day? You guys
I
ever
did.
hang out?
I met her a few times. She's a very nice older woman.
I feel so sad that when people get over.
Shade! The shade!
I love it.
I caught that. I love you so much.
I think our artists are kind of, I don't want to derail too much, but they're kind of
That
like,
ship has sailed
they
here.
kind of speak for the humanity, you know,
Sure.
like Chris Cornell overdosing, Prince overdosing. It's like horrific because our society has fallen into that mess. And to see Madonna
A lot
do
of people
all the
want
work on her
out of
face.
here. You know, party your way out.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Die
choose
young, stay
that.
pretty.
Yeah.
We have a very, very serious super chat. D99 says, 99 Ted says, we had someone try to get our chickens today. Tim always warned us. I just didn't think it would be this soon.
Wait, really? So people steal chickens?
Yeah.
Of course.
But what I'm warning
How much does a
about
chicken
is,
cost?
Like
Well,
a couple bucks, to-
right?
to-
Yeah, well, it's all relative to the situation. I guess.
No, they're
a
much
layer,
more.
a hen that can lay eggs, $20,
Mm-hmm.
maybe more these days. Baby chicks are a couple dollars,
Yeah,
$5.
okay.
But it could be like $20.
I had Japanese. I had all sort of UN kind of variety of chickens. I had some
Did you say
Japanese.
UN?
I know. I call it UN. UN.
You know, a variety of countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
representative
We have
chickens.
that's what Chicken City is basically. We've got like we have a Polish rooster.
Mm-hmm.
He's Luke. We named him after Luke because Luke's Polish. You know, he's got a crazy haircut.
But they can cost a couple $100.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. The
yeah,
fancy
yeah.
breeders, of course. Yeah.
Fancy breeds and the bigger ones and stuff. But
You
what
should
I
get a black one. What's the black Japanese silky? What is it called?
I think we do have.
With
I don't
black,
know if
they have black meat.
we don't have those. We have the silkies. They have blue meat. But
Okay.
we do have the all black chickens.
Okay.
They're complete, even their eyes and their feet and everything. And then
You
we have
get green eggs.
we do get green eggs
Yeah,
from
we had
a
that.
couple of our Easter. I think they're Easter eggers. But then we have Jersey Giants. And they're black chickens, and they're huge, very big. And then we have a Brahma. We have a Brahma boy because he, Roberto. I think Roberto and Sarah had a baby, and she's a Brahma. He's a Rhode Island Red. So, but here, what I was warning people is that when society collapses, you'll be in your house and you'll hear rustling, and you'll run out into the backyard and see some dude in a flannel shirt, suspenders, with a handlebar mustache, grabbing one of your chickens,
Just
just
like Charles.
crying and being like, "I'm just so hungry," and you'll be like, put my chicken down." And these urban liberal hipsters who are starving will be looting your farm for whatever they can eat.
That's
But
true.
you know,
I caught all these Asian folk in my yard over there in Hawaii. I had ducks everywhere because I should have crushed their eggs, but they were cute. Well, I ended up with about 40 ducks in my backyard.
Wow.
And here come all these couple of old Asian women with nets stealing my ducks. And then my son says, "Oh, Mom, they own that Chinese restaurant over there."
they were really stealing your ducks.
Yeah,
It's-
they're
I'm
cooking
pretty
them
sure it's
and
illegal.
selling them.
I think
not in Hawaii.
No,
everything.
Hawaii, like there's all kinds of there's wild chickens everywhere.
Yeah, no,
There's
but
wild
migratory
duck.
birds are federally protected. I'm pretty sure.
Not in Hawaii.
I
Not
don't.
no, no, no,
domesticated
like-
ducks. They're not protected. Domesticated ducks aren't protected.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If they were just ducks randomly laying in there, yeah, I guess they're not going to be migratory. In
Yeah,
Hawaii.
they're farm
No,
ducks.
they
Farm
live
ducks.
there. So, I'm like, hey, that's cool. They're just,
What?
Let's
what
I want to. I got this is an important one from Patricia Swisher. Michael, what's on your shirt?
Oh, you can't see?
That's a great shirt.
Andrew Gillum?
You got to move the mic. We can't really read,
Oh,
man.
there it is. Andrew Gillum
Andrew
for governor.
Gillum.
Wow. Who's Andrew Gillum? Tell me.
Didn't he run against the test?
He's that guy who got found buck naked doing drugs in the hotel.
Tell
He
me
was the
more.
guy that
Run
likes to
against
party.
DeSantis?
Yeah.
Yeah,
On
he
second
ran
thought,
against
someone should have stopped
DeSantis.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Someone should have at least said pump the brakes.
See, I don't know if I can take your Biden pick seriously for president because you said you wanted a Biden.
I said, there was a big caveat.
He said
which is
Biden.
Corpse.
Biden with a huge Republican
But you
majority.
also said he had to have
No,
what's
he
his
said
name
Biden, not
from,
Biden.
from Pennsylvania to be his VP.
Fetterman.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Biden Fetterman is your
my.
call.
Oh no, I take back. Fetterman's my answer. Fetterman is absolutely my
Fetterman's the
answer
guy.
for president. Hey, Gazinga.
Is that what he said?
Yes. I'll tweet it again. I'll tweet it again. Hey, Gazinga.
It's so sad.
And everyone's like,
No,
yeah.
he was on Time Magazine.
This is
What are they
no.
doing?
That's
is
the
that
thing.
fake? Is that real?
When Joe Biden said turn it on a shot of pressure, and they went, yeah. I'm like, what is going
Yeah.
on? What is this? It's scary.
Scary.
What about the
It
fact
is
that person of the year was a high school dropout who's like mentally ill, Greta Thunberg, and everyone's, oh my God, she's so smart. Like, how privileged do you have to be to say I'm not going back to school until everyone on Earth changes the weather for me?
I hate everything so much.
I hate her too.
I don't think she's not mentally ill though. You are incorrect.
She had selective mutism, which
She's
means she didn't talk to anyone for.
Developmentally disabled.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take that correction.
No, because I think mental illness refers to specific ailments and developmental disabilities.
I'll accept that
Yeah.
that correction.
I always take that very seriously too, because people will see a video of a socialist and they'll be like, they're mentally ill. I'm like, no. Being wrong isn't a mental illness. People who are developmentally disabled or who are indoctrinated are not mentally ill. Their brains work just full of wrong information.
Right.
In all, for people
I
don't.
have mental
What
illness.
people don't understand is that under Tim's beanie, there's no top of the skull. It's just like the pulsating brain.
Yeah, it's a void.
Yeah, it's a void.
It has tentacles attached.
So he's very sensitive to this issue.
Well, I think she's on the autism.
A very highly, yes, that's
But
that's acknowledged. Yeah,
Right.
And that's
I think that
most of my friends are.
there is something particularly interesting about the I tweeted something about this. Said Greta Thunberg with her. Let me pull up the tweet because I think
I'm gonna find that
Her
Fetterman
parents
tweet
are
too.
mentally ill though.
No, they're evil. That's not the same.
Oh yeah, you're right. I keep forgetting that one.
They're definitely.
Oh, okay. I
They're
think
not mentally ill. They're very smart. It's like Hollywood, when you pimp out your kid. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
You've seen plenty of that in your lifetime,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I said something like with her 0 years of here we go. I'm just going to read it. I said, Greta is one of the most widely cited climate scientists. With over 0 years in the field and a staggering 0 degrees and diplomas beyond grade school, Greta has taken the world by storm with her cursory knowledge skimmed from Google and rhetoric overheard from activists yelling in the street.
Sounds like Chat
How
GPT.
dare
And then this was in April on 420. The amazing atheist says, cool, bro, what's your degree again? You're a political commentator? I'm like, quite literally, yes. I don't go to climate meetings and tell people how to change the weather.
I just retweeted the Fetterman clip. It's 2 seconds at the top of my Twitter if you want
I
to see
feel
it.
bad for
Time.
Fetterman.
I know. 5 days ago, he's on Time Magazine. So, and it's out of the darkness, the untold story of of Senator John Fetterman's battle with depression. So you put a guy with severe depression and
Out of
mental
the
incapacity
darkness.
in, and then you make an article about how much he's suffering now that he's in. Like, why did you even do that in the beginning, people? That's what I want to know.
I am not going to have you sit here and bash sadism.
I know
Because
you
there's
love
a
John.
There's a lot of joy in seeing other people suffer, I assure you. And all kinds of joy, if you know what I mean.
Let's read this one. Jacob Furman says, commenting on last night, listen to recent Jordan Peterson on Bill Maher and JBP, said something like Beauty and the Beast is the archetypal pornographic fantasy for women. When will you get either of them on the show? Writer's strike has Mar free now. Is that Jordan Peterson said that?
You're not going to be able to get Beast on the show. He's very hard to get.
Yeah, he's secluded.
Which one, X-Men or Disney?
Or Disney, yeah.
Or
Mr.
But wait, did Jordan Peterson really say that?
But it makes a lot of sense, meaning because the girl dates a guy who's like an animal, and then she civilizes him. So it is archetypical.
Like 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Is that what it
So
is?
I'm sure that's what he means. It's not too hard to wrap your head
She
around.
civilizes him.
She does though. Like he goes from a beast to like this proper gentleman.
I wanted to talk about a story we didn't get to because someone super chatted it. That someone made a mod for Skyrim where you can actually speak to a companion that's been programmed with ChatGPT to respond to you in words in English in real time.
Some like a Siri equivalent.
So it's well beyond that.
But I mean, like, it's like her, like that. Without,
Right.
Yeah.
You're playing Skyrim and you have a companion and you say, where do you think we should go? And then your companion says, I don't know. Maybe we should go to Castle Run or
Your
whatever.
house. Yeah.
No, I
Wherever.
mean,
Whiterun, yeah.
So I was talking about this earlier. The AI apocalypse is here. We are a few years away from seamless AI realities where you can talk to people and they can store memories. You were mentioning calling them on the phone.
Yeah, and when you log out of the game, you can just give them a call any time of day and bond with that NPC.
I'm going to say something else. I don't think this is very controversial. Chat GPT. It's going to be ironic what I'm about to say. Chat GPT is more articulate than the average person.
Of course.
But I mean, that's a big deal.
But then you can really stay in your psychotic cage.
It's great.
Right?
Yeah, I love it. I never leave the house.
How many people do you think will choose to live in the fake world?
They choose it now.
Yeah, they
How many?
So-
Like 90%.
Watching the
I
show
agree.
are kind of in a fake
Yeah.
world.
I
I mean,
think-
it's
Yeah.
real
But
world.
here,
Do you
check
blame
this out.
them?
No, but check this out.
Fake.
Here's, Michael, would you choose to live in fake reality?
No,
Why not?
because my life is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Now, what about some short, fat incel who can't get a job?
Hey, don't bring me into this.
Well, that's
Oh wait, I have a joke. Let me see. I want to.
No, I would choose to live in
I
the
got a joke.
artificial.
Hey, did you
What?
guys hear that Roseanne Barr is launching an airline? All the flights are already canceled.
Not funny.
You know, you bring up talking
Kinda
about
funny.
people that are happy in their lives is kind of the point you're getting. People, but if you have that option of going into the Matrix or whatever, like, what about the people that never get the chance to make their lives into something that they would choose over the Matrix?
here's
So
what's going to happen is
Who gives a
conservatives are for several reasons are overwhelmingly likely not going to choose the fake reality. One, they're more likely to have families and not want to abandon them. They're more likely to be good looking and get and make more money. For Michael, who says his life is pretty awesome, he wouldn't abandon that.
Yes.
But for the average person, they would say, I'm happier and I'm special in my own world.
Well, you know how we
Yeah,
can prove-
but then if you get to old people like 70 and above, such
Sure.
as myself, hell yeah, I'd choose to live in an artificial world
Yes.
with everyone going, you
we can,
are
we
right.
can prove you right in one sentence.
You're right. You're beautiful.
During COVID, people who were low status had the opportunity to increase their status by berating and dominating other people who weren't following the rules. So we see
Yeah,
very
they
clearly
did.
they would love to be in this fake reality where they matter more than they matter in real life.
And so what
That's
happens then
true.
in the real world, policy will be set by those who are not in fake worlds. So conservatives
Oh,
and libertarians,
interesting.
people who are successful and more attractive, will be in base reality, living their lives like normal, controlling government, and people who are weaker, less skilled, are going to retreat to fake realities.
And
Well,
those
that's
people-
good then.
And at the very top is going to be the anarchist. So I hope you guys are nice to me because I got those. I can't finish that sentence.
Would you?
So Glitch said, the reason I brought this up, to shout out Glitch for the super chat, the simulation
I
is
like
broken. It is creating a new simulation inside of itself. You will be in the pod, inside the pod.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go into a pod to go into the Matrix, but I would come back out. I get concerned when people forget they're in a Matrix when they're in there. So you need like some sort
But
of.
so many people
fail-safe.
don't have self-awareness or introspection. That's not a common thing. It's surprisingly rare.
So like what they
1%.
see is
Yeah.
real.
1%.
Yeah. Right. What they see is it's like Cesar Millan always says dogs don't think they react.
Is that like
That's
proved
true,
in
too.
psychology? Is that like a known thing, or is that just? Are you just sensing that? Or
He's just
or
I'm
making
quoting
it
I'm
up.
quoting Cesar
Just making
I'm
shit.
quoting Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer. That's one of his quotes.
that people react.
No, dogs don't think they react, and I'm saying people are the same.
Jonathan Haidt has a
Yes.
concept, the elephant and the rider. So
Yes.
the elephant is your emotional reaction, and the rider is like
Your
you
rational
can
brain.
Yeah, you can kind of suggest to an elephant where to go, but if the elephant doesn't want to go where the rider directs, the elephant's not going there. You know, and so the rider's really more just like PR. Your elephant, which is your limbic system and your emotional reaction and stuff, your elephant just goes and does what it wants to do, and then your consciousness essentially rationalize it and just it basically tells the PR as to why you did it, even though it's actually more of reaction than anything you ever thought.
I did.
out.
I was doing tricep curls, and I was like, "Dude,
Tricep
fifth,
curls?
you were
We're
not
not doing
doing
tricep curls.
bodybuilding."
That's not tricep curls, that's bicep curls.
I was doing maybe it was a pull. I was pulling on the rope,
Okay, yeah.
and like this, like pulling down like this. And after the fourth one, I was like, I was willing my body, but nothing was moving. It didn't even hurt. Like that's the rider telling the elephant to turn right, but he was like, it's lactic acid buildup. You can't even.
Yeah.
Your muscles aren't responding anymore.
And you should lower the weight. Don't do vanity lifts.
He just stopped me at 4 after that. He's like, you hit your max. That's the key. Go up until you can't do it anymore.
I don't think that's the key at
I want to
all.
read this one. Demoralize, exemplifying everything that I and others have said about DeSantis supporters, says, so DeSantis finally did what you've been demanding of him, firing bad staffers that hurt your feelings. Are you finally going to praise him now like you promised you would? Boy, that's going to get DeSantis some support. This is exactly my point. Thank you for proving my point and exemplifying the exact issue. When
This Zonorad is hurt feelings. Are you an idiot?
No, it's not that. I don't care what he's saying. Hurt feelings. Saying hurt feelings is an attempt at an emotional slight.
Yes.
It's meant to rile me up.
Yeah, yeah.
Why would I support DeSantis after that? So my first assumption is this guy must hate DeSantis and desperately want to get influential personalities in shows to turn on DeSantis. But DeSantis didn't say anything bad to me. You did. So then I have to wonder, like, is this intentional sabotage? Unfortunately, there were members of DeSantis' own staff who were insulting me as well. So I think it's just DeSantis supporters are incapable of formulating responses that will actually help the man win. And DeSantis is incapable of leading his staff and his followers in helping him win.
I'm going to say one more thing. I know a lot of people on the DeSantis team, as do you, and I invited one who I've met with in person on my show several times. I only do deferential interviews. I don't even push back, and they just left me unread. And
They refuse.
I'm like, this is an hour for you to have a commercial for your candidate. I would not even be antagonistic in the slightest.
What do you mean unread? They just didn't say anything?
They didn't say anything.
So I don't know. I don't do booking. We have for Culture War, it's Lisa Reynolds, and for the show, Cassandra handles booking. But my understanding,
I book people sometimes without asking.
you do.
anything.
my understanding is that the DeSantis people will not come on this show, and we've been like, can we get someone who supports DeSantis to come on and have this conversation? And they're terrified.
They're buried in it
But
already.
but it's weird to be terrified because you are not going to be like blah 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 blah. Blah. You're going to have a very civil and
But they
give them an
can't.
opportunity to change your mind.
And they can't.
I don't understand that.
So
That seems
the
like
issue
money
is
on the
this.
table.
Hey, Ron DeSantis lacks charisma. There's no answer. How do you respond to that other than we're working on it? But it makes him sound bad. So you say something like Jazz Jennings received trans surgery while Ron DeSantis was governor. There's been no addressing it directly. The answer is actually really simple. Ron DeSantis did what he could and he passed laws.
That's fair.
Instead, they just started tweeting at me that I was stupid, I was a moron, I was wrong. They lied.
Well, both could be true.
Sure. But this is the point. Instead of being like, hey, man, look, we're really working on it, they started just dogpiling on me.
That makes
insulting
no
me.
sense to me.
They want him to
Strategically,
lose. They want him to lose. Like, this was his. These were like his PR
I think
people.
That's true.
I'm just saying this doesn't make sense to me because like I know enough about PR that'd be very easy to say what you just said,
Right.
Or send you a one pager goes, this is what Ron DeSantis did to combat this issue in Florida, and this is what Trump hasn't done, and just put it forward.
Instead, they said, what an idiot. Tim Pool's a moron. He doesn't understand how laws work. They said, Ron DeSantis doesn't have a time machine and he can't fly to New York and change the laws. And I'm just like, huh? I was like, why are you all tweeting at me? Instead of just saying like, here's a link to a story and being like,
Or a link to a press release.
Yeah. It's just, they have no idea how to handle any of this.
They're in over their
The other thing
heads.
too is like you mentioned the polarization where it's like, if you oppose DeSantis, you're a Trump supporter. Quite literally, a prominent personality tweeted, I just can't get behind DeSantis after this. He doesn't know how to handle his campaign, his PR. And so they immediately said, why won't you address Laura Loomer and Alex Brusowitz? And it's just like, I'm talking about DeSantis. That's an entirely different campaign and different people. If all you can do in response to bad PR is point to someone else, I'll say, okay, great. You're both bad. Next question.
Yeah.
But thanks for the comment. I gotta say, I do believe some of these people are actually just trying to sink DeSantis. Like,
Yeah, that's
posts
so
like
weird.
this do nothing but get us saying negative things about his campaign. So
Well,
why
think
do
of how
it?
many people that were working for Trump did that to him.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point, Roseanne.
That's how they are. Like, I think that so many of people on the right are just Democrats in disguise.
Yeah. All right. PTB says we're gonna have to start a Roseanne was right jar.
Yeah.
All right. 4 months. 4 months.
I'll match it and we'll give it to charity or somebody who needs it or something.
If
Yeah.
the end of the year. So we have to December 31st.
Yes.
To be fair, or to January. If by January 1st at midnight
Okay.
there are
Military
no
tribunals.
tribunals,
And then the election next year.
and so after that we should have a follow up or something.
Yeah.
And then what are you gonna do with the money?
It would
Whatever
be
you
a great
do.
excuse for you to come back to Austin.
Oh yeah, we're
Oh,
taking
beginning
that'd
of
be
January?
cool.
Yeah. We'll both be back on.
We'll have a big old party.
Why don't we do an event at like a venue and we'll call it the Roseanne was wrong. There were no military tribunals.
Okay, that's fine.
No, we'll call it Roseanne on Trial. And we could even do a little roast.
You can roast me. We,
But
and we
this-
can give money to some good
Yeah.
cause.
Yeah.
I say
Anti-gravity
we
research.
do it because in the event the tribunals do happen, it's
Sure.
going to be good to have the event ready to talk about how we were
Yeah,
all
that'll
wrong.
be
You know
good
what?
to
Let's
talk
raise
about.
money for what's it called, RAIN, which is for kids who had to deal with child abuse. So
Yeah, I
that is
like
something
that
I think is a
organization.
really big issue that isn't talked about enough, and
That's
it's too
what's her
politicized.
name. I love her.
I don't know who's in charge. I could be getting the name wrong, but let's talk.
It might
Okay.
it might have to be like second or third week of January.
Point being, like, let's use it to raise
Yeah.
money for like a cause that's everyone agrees
good
with is a
cause.
problem.
Yeah, sounds
Cool.
good.
Have you seen Sound of Freedom?
No, I've not yet.
Oh man, you will.
Do you think
It's great.
Rogan's venue is probably totally booked, and he only does
He'll
comedy
let
anyway.
us do it.
You think so?
Yeah.
But there's lots of places in
Yeah.
Austin.
And
It's just a
there's
shortage.
another one down the
But-
street that'll let us do it too.
Comedy-
We could combine them.
Yeah, we'll
Comedy
figure it out.
Mothership would be
Okay.
the
That'd
be
coolest
sick.
thing
Yeah,
ever.
that's-
but
That'd be
but we're not
cool
really
as shit.
it would be a comedy element.
It should be a
I don't know.
tribunal.
It's not comedy
be
like
funny.
like the law that it has to be comedy shows at his club.
No, I
We
know.
can
I
do
know.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we can have comics.
They may be
coming
booked
in.
out.
It's like
though.
Funny
It's only
Strange,
4
you
months
know, not
away.
funny,
Yeah,
haha.
it's probably booked up.
Get you.
I don't know.
Dave Smith.
ask him.
And Louis Gomez.
No,
can
you said
roast
I
me.
thought no, they want comics.
Not you have not failed podcasters. Right?
But maybe we actually do. We'll bring some comics.
That would be
and
terrific.
That'd
And
be
we'll
so
do a-
fun. We could have a
political comedy kind
Fun
of thing.
time.
A roast.
Yeah.
Have you been roasted before?
Yeah, Comedy Central. It's
Hell
hilarious.
yeah.
Go
Is
watch it.
Is it fun or does it suck?
It's so fun. You can't wait to hear what they're going to say.
The thing that I found with people who are who are famous, everyone's scared to make fun of them, but she's a comedian, right? So if you're cracking jokes at her, she's peeing her pants, but everyone's scared to do it. So
no,
like what,
there were some good.
no, I'm
jabs.
talking
No,
about
the
general.
peeing your
like,
pants is
you
not
are,
from
you're not
the jokes.
You're what I learned about being friends with you is you're surprised. I'm much more pretentious than you are, but you're in a position to be. So if people make jokes with you, you laugh or you say that's not funny, but you're not offended.
No, I love a good
Yeah.
joke, no matter who it's at.
So we'll try and figure it out. Yeah, we'll start
That'd
working
be
on it.
fun.
Yeah.
But you
I'll-
guys are all gonna, be owing the money. I'm telling you.
It'll be
Okay, Boomer.
it's going to be very funny when Michael writes a check and hands it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be funny.
I want
strange.
Because at least she knows what a check is.
I want Roseanne to be right, but I don't think that. I think that you're going to be paying up.
And
Well,
then
wait,
next
hold
time-
on, wait, hold on,
Let's see,
hold
are
on.
you
We got
in?
a
Did you
clarification.
put money in?
Michael, what if
Well,
the
you ain't got
military?
nothing to say.
What if the military tribunal is for Trump officials?
then she wins.
Okay, any military tribunal
Yes.
at all.
I mean,
Okay.
it's got to be like large scale. It's not like one guy's in a military tribunal. That happens every day anyway.
It's got to be.
okay.
It's got to be.
Public on TV. And
Public and on TV, and it's got to be.
Let's
like,
Trust him to be the judge to see who wins if
Okay.
it's a gray area. Okay, because you're.
I'll poll the audience and ask.
Sure,
them,
that's
you
fair
know.
too. You're on the fence.
tribunals. Period.
Yeah.
That means there's
Whoever.
3 or more
Whoever.
judges.
Twitter poll.
Is that what tribunal
I'm sorry, we'll do an
means?
X poll.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
I said
yeah.
Twitter.
Military tribunal.
So it has to be
Twitter is
3
X's dead name.
judges at least.
They're military. It's a military tribunal, which is different from a, Department of Justice trial.
But it has to be 3 judges, I think, for the try. In the
Oh, for
tribunal.
the tri and tribunal.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. At least 3
I don't know,
judges.
but
I'm
I
gonna look
think
it up.
it's a judge.
It's 3 officers of I believe.
I found the spook.
General rank.
It's just
I want
that what it
to.
is?
court.
I want to read this. Rusty Razor
And there's
says.
3 zeros in $1,000 that you're going to be giving me.
Exactly.
Rusty-
he
It's a
didn't
simulation.
put no money in.
No, you.
Oh, okay.
Rusty Razor super chatted us saying around 1996, researchers from the University of Alabama at Huntsville created a Bose-Einstein condensate that canceled gravity above it. The story is in Pop Mechanics and Pop Sci. The researchers disappeared. They disavowed their work years later. So they reappeared?
Wow.
Where did they reappear? They disappeared and they came back?
They
They
apparated.
went down there to Antarctica.
Apparated to Hogwarts.
This is the Bose-Einstein condensate's an interesting phenomenon that I have very little information about. I don't
Well,
know
you
why I
better
even said
get
that out loud.
busy.
Yeah,
That's
let's
the
learn.
that's the God particle, right? Do I have that right?
No, you're thinking of the Higgs boson.
Higgs boson, yeah.
That all sounds the same to me.
Bose was a scientist that apparently Einstein ripped off a lot. Like people credit with Einstein with a
a
lot of his
dick.
discoveries, but like Bose was the actual mathematician, and Einstein would
No,
just go hang out
Emily
with him.
Nether was a
That's a girl's
mathematician.
name.
Emily Nether.
Noether. She was his real
No more
mathematician.
super chats.
We got a bunch.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you know, I'm reading through them while you
Okay.
guys are talking.
Emily Nether.
Well, we'll grab another one. Toy News Daily says most likely in 3 years every phone will come with an AI assistant. Siri
yeah.
2.0 will do everything. Personal assistant for anything you want to do.
They kind of have some versions of that already, somewhat.
Every what?
Everything you want to do. We're very close to the point where you'll literally just call your phone by name, and the name is effectively a passcode for activation. So it'll be like enter a name, an activation code, and you'll say like, you know,
Make reservations at
System
7 o'clock.
101. Yeah, 7 o'clock reservations. I might be late. Set it up for me. No one at the restaurant will talk to anybody. It'll be done.
Yeah.
Oh.
The network will do it. You'll show up, and they'll say, welcome. This is how it's going to be.
And yet,
so,
yet in 2023, we got to take calls from the audience.
when I was flying back from Vegas on United, they changed my flight without telling me.
Oh.
From it was Vegas to Houston to DC, and then at 2 a.m, while I was asleep, it changed to Vegas to Denver to DC, and from first class to coach
Oh my gosh.
without a refund or anything. So you know that's got to be fraud or something.
And let me thank Roseanne because you came here, they flew me first class. So I feel like a big shot today.
But
'Cause
there
you-
were no humans involved. The customer
Yeah.
service was a robot. Robot couldn't answer anything. This is the future.
I ordered from McDonald's for the first time. in
I'd rather
5
work with the
years.
robot than with the human. You've seen who's out there.
At McDonald's,
No.
there's no humans. I just ordered on a
They ne-
machine, and then they
Ian-
got my order. The guy
Ian-
that gave it to me did
Ian,
it
there
wrong.
never were.
Hold on, wait, we got to read this one.
Well,
No-
sometimes
no
they
name.
try to make it right.
Yeah, your way, kinda.
No name 99. No face 88 says, Roseanne, you are awesome. Tim, you did good getting her to come on. Thank
He
you.
did.
I did.
Oh
Thank
my
you very
god.
much.
Oh my god.
I didn't even know she was coming. I was just sitting. Michael's like, I got a surprise. He's all giddy and laughing.
Yeah, that is a good Michael
yeah.
impression. That's fair.
He
Credit when
was
due.
so excited. And then Roseanne walks in. She's like, hi. And I'm like, oh, it's Roseanne. And then he's like, oh.
I had a whole speech. She was gonna walk in.
We had to get the picture for the
I
thumbnail.
know. We didn't. You could have.
Yeah. Well, we have.
Oh, it was fun.
It was-
It was fun to come.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah. We still have the members only show. It's in a few minutes. But
Can I go to the bathroom and smoke
Yeah, I'm
before
about
we
to.
do that?
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
go for it.
Okay,
You're-
since
you're
I
Rose-
don't know
you're
what
Roseanne.
the
No one
guys-
tells you anything.
I don't know what y'all are talking about with games and this shit for young people. So I'll recuse myself for a cigarette.
You smoking
and go to the
cigarettes?
bathroom.
Well, so with that being said, everybody smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Go to
fun,
timcast.com.
though.
Become a member. We're going to jump to the members only segment in just a few minutes. You can follow the show at Timcast IRL. You can follow me at Timcast. Michael, do you want to shout me out?
Michael Malice on Twitter and the White Pill book. I hope you all read it and enjoy it. And it's why I'm hopeful for the future of this.
Do you want Roseanne? Do you want to shout out your show before you?
Oh yeah.
The Roseanne Barr Show, wherever podcasts are available. I'm on the
RoseanneBarr.com.
and RoseanneBarr.com. Follow her on Twitter. I got her real Twitter account back. The real, at,
right on.
at the real Roseanne.
Twitter back. My
Yes.
kids took it away from me, and he helped me.
That's
get
right.
It back.
Chaos Demon.
Nice work, dude.
Yeah, I was
Demons
very
are
proud
not
of
always
myself.
evil. Yeah,
That's correct.
Chaotic good.
I am Phil Labonte. The band is All That Remains. We are available on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, that whole deal.
You can go to the bathroom right there, Roseanne. Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ian Crossland. Follow me at iancrossland.net. We're going to make some magic tonight. Good to see you, Roseanne. I'll see you in a little bit. Yeah, dude. I'm all about the gemstones. This is a ruby.
Is that really Ruby?
This is legit ruby
There's
from the
no-
earth.
Uncut?
They make rubies, they make rubies in the lab.
Oh, yeah,
The ones
yeah,
from Earth are
We
a
got you a
little
gem in Tijuana, and Luke charged it in the ocean for you.
Oh, good.
We
Thank
need
you,
to,
Luke.
We need to get it. Yeah.
Different. Thank you, sir. All right,
Yeah.
guys. We'll see you on the after show.
Kellen.
Yeah, I am Kellen. You guys can follow me everywhere at Kellen PDL. I was going to tell Roseanne that the chat absolutely loved her tonight. I was laughing the whole time, just reading people's comments and everything. But yeah, awesome show.
All right. We'll see you all over at timcast.com in a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out.